customers and police. Owens eventually tumbled out of the aquarium. While being handcuffed, he began to fight with officers. Owens kicked one of the officers in the testicles.
No. In the testicle.
Police estimated that Owens caused $3,500 in damages to the light pole, $5,000 in damages to a police transport vehicle. Owens' wife told police she believed he was having a, quote, mental episode.
I would say.
Owens, who claimed he had taken a lot of drugs that he found in his garage, initially declined to explain why he jumped into the aquarium. He went on to say, quote, "If I told you guys, you would just put me in the loony house." He later cited religious reasons for the naked frolic.
What religion was that?
I don't know.
As a Christian, I have never once
wanted to frolic at a Bass Pro Shop.
To frolic naked in the
I wonder how cold that
tank.
water is in that aquarium.
Yeah, according to that fish, not very.
Do you remember the video, though? He throws himself over the front and just, like, you could hear him, pow, hit the ground.
See, I thought this was a couple of years ago when somebody did this.
Oh, it's been a couple of years ago. Yeah. I think it was when we were, it was a story here, I believe.
Yeah, I think I was still an intern when that story happened.
Admission, I've never been inside that Bass Pro Shop.
I've been once or twice. Took the kids there Christmas a couple years ago.
Yeah, you go sit on Santa's lap. If you got a kid, Santa makes a visit there.
Scott doesn't play Santa ever, does he?
Who?
This guy.
That old cat? No, I don't think so. No, I got not enough gray in that beard.
That's trash brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Remember, whether you're looking for your final home, first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages, 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
All right, the Golfus is a great place. We were talking about the TGL last night, the virtual golf.
And this is like that.
This is like that. Now, look, that is a probably not $1 billion arena, but tens of millions of dollars. You get close to that at the Golfus, though. It is a fantastic place to go. 2 Birmingham locations, soon to be 3, already open Highway 31 in Vestavia, and just off on Van Road, just off Highway 11 in Trussville. That is where you find the Golfus. Listen, it's a great place for your office meetings. Get out of the office, get in the Golfus. It's a great place for your couple showers, your parties, just hanging out with the guys. Up to 50. They can accommodate up to 50 in a party. Bring your own food, bring your own drink, bring your own golf clubs, and play at the Golfus. It is Birmingham's best golf simulators, and it is always 70 degrees, never any rain, never any wind. You can't say that outside right now in Birmingham. So go see the Golfus. Book a bay. Learn more at thegolfus.com. Thegolfus.com.
Perfect this time of year if you're a golfer that maybe plays 2 times a week. Just get out there and play a little golf. All right, some final thoughts before we get out of here today. Don't forget Alabama basketball in action tonight. They play against South Carolina. In that contest, the guy to watch for South Carolina is forward Colin Murray Boyles. He'll be a guy you'll have to focus on. He's their best scorer in the contest tonight. Alabama at mybookie.ag. Brownie's still roughly a 10.5 favorite.
Yeah, let me update it real quick, and I'll tell you. It was 10, bounced up to 10.5. So that's kind of where it's been hanging around. I think you can probably count on Alabama going off as a small double-digit favorite in this game. Right now at 10.5, Alabama is favored over South Carolina.
Urban Meyer has entered the chat.
Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com. Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store. Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
College football playoffs return tonight. Notre Dame, Penn State, 6:30 on ESPN. Ohio State, Texas tomorrow. We'll get into all of that. Alabama basketball coming up in this segment to start things off. They had a big road win last night. NFL playoffs start a little bit later on this week. Let's touch on the NFL just briefly, because there's no humor in it at all. There's 100,000 people evacuated in Los Angeles and Southern California with these forest fires. There is 5 deaths related to the fire so far, millions of dollars of property damage. But in the sports world, one thing is the Rose Bowl, the actual Rose Bowl structure is now it's under attack. They're saying we got to keep an eye that the Rose Bowl could be in the way of a fire.
Man, I am blown away. Look, and I don't know all the ins and outs, and look, what you see on social media isn't always real or isn't always legitimate. But what you're hearing is they were not prepared at all for this.
Yeah.
And and I don't know what your typical what you've got like lined up. We've got around here, what do we deal with tornadoes.
That's right.
They deal with earthquakes, not often, and they deal with wildfires, not often. But I mean, I think those are their two.
Well, I think wildfires are annual now. I mean, it seems like it's every
maybe,
year.
but not to this degree.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, those are the natural disasters they have to deal with, and you would think that they would be more prepared because people that are posting are like, we had no heads up from the sheriff's department, from first responders, and they seem really overwhelmed. With all that said, being a Rams fan, there is something about playing a 17-game schedule. You win your division, you earn home field, and I understand there's a lot more important stuff going on. But, now I would say, just because of the optics, even if this thing cleans up quickly, I mean, I think that game's going to be in Glendale on Monday night.
It's like we talk about in Florida after the hurricane games. It's not what the weather is for the game. It's what the stress is on the emergency people, right? And if you play a game at SoFi, it requires so many EMTs, police, fire people that have to be there, right?
Yeah, and especially with where our world is right now.
Exactly.
Everybody's on high alert.
Yeah, I mean, the sensible thing to do, and I know it sucks, but the sensible thing to do is play the game in Phoenix. Glendale.
I saw one NFL reporter say he felt like it was about a 75% chance that it'd be in Glendale on Monday night.
I've kind of already processed it and gotten to that point.
Why Glendale and not Vegas? Aren't they about the same distance? Maybe there's something in the Vegas stadium.
I don't know. This isn't unprecedented. There was a regular season game back in, I'm looking for this. It was the Chargers and 2003. Your Dolphins and the Chargers had to move to Sun Devil Stadium.
Yeah.
Due to wildfires.
I'd forgotten all about that. Yeah.
20 plus years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Air quality is, it's an open air stadium at SoFi, and it's got a roof on it, but
it's open in the end.
It looks like the apocalypse when you look at the pictures.
Like the photo of downtown LA where it's just a red sky and the moon is obscured. It might have been the sun. I don't know which one was obscured. I guess it's the sun. It's obscured by all the smoke. I mean, it's just wild.
Yeah, like if you were to crystal ball, here's what LA on January 8th is going to look like 2025. You'd be like, boy, I hope I've been doing right.
I know. Yeah. Who attacked?
Yeah. Who shot it? Who shot first?
Yeah, but the Rose Bowl, that's one of those stadiums, all jokes aside, is so old that it's almost, you feel like it's like some of these historic European sites, that the way they were built, it might actually survive this.
Well, I don't know. You flick a heater, it seems like it could go up. I don't know. I mean, do you think, though, that now that that's out there, that it's such a historic place that, I mean, you're not going to pull responders from other people.
I mean, you got to sacrifice that and save the places where people actually live. I mean, I hate to say that, but that's the truth. I mean, if you're pulling responders from homes where humans and animals live to save a stadium, that is.
I mean, the only thing I can think of that I mean, in Paris, didn't we have Notre Dame burned down?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, like, fortunately, you don't see a lot of this stuff happening, and God forbid, hopefully, everything clears up out there. But man, can you imagine if the Rose Bowl burned down?
No, it'd be terrible.
Yep. Malibu hit hard. We got friends who are from Southern California. A lot of their neighborhoods hit hard. 100,000 people evacuated. That number is going up, and we'll keep an eye on the Vikings and Rams game. If it ends up being moved to Arizona, it is a possibility for that Monday night scheduled game there. We get to college basketball, what our lead story would be if there were no fires going on. Alabama, now on a 7-game win streak. They beat South Carolina last night, 88-68. And little T and I afterwards, I told her the watchability of that game as far as excitement level on a scale of 1 to 10. It felt like a very flat 6 the entire time because it was like a 15-point game the whole game because Mark Sears was so good.
It was like watching a Mayweather fight.
Yeah,
like
South
Alabama
Carolina
couldn't
touch him.
Well, yeah, they had no chance of losing that game. They had him at arm's length the entire time. I don't know. It was just a boring watch. And it was a dominant performance. I mean, that's what you would get with Mayweather fights. Dominant performance, boring watch.
Yeah, favored by 10.5, win by 20 on the road. I mean, it's just...
That's 3 straight wins by 20 plus.
Yeah, and Auburn's going to get them on Saturday, South Carolina. And
what a start for them.
I know. They lose on the road by 35 to Mississippi State. They lose at home 20 to Alabama. And here comes Auburn, who will likely be the number 1 team in the country at some point here very quickly. And who knows what that beatdown will look like coming up this weekend. Cut number 2, Tyler, Nate Oates, on the key to the game last night. And if you watched it, it was Mo Diabate who had the opportunity there to shut down the big player for them. Colin Murray Boyles is a guy they have to get 16, 18, 20 points out of if they're going to win basketball games. And Diabate and that Bama defense, we talked about it this week on the show. Bama defense looked really good last night. Here's Nate afterwards.
We've got some guys that have some personal pride in their defense this year. Last game, LeBaron Philon thought did a really good job on Fears. Jaron Stevenson's 6'10" and can move his feet. It's athletic. The job he did on R.J. Davis, the reps he had on Fears. And then when they've got a big, I think Cliff's, done well. I mean, Cliff had to figure out a system, but he's done all right. And then when they get a kind of an undersized post-up guy like Murray Boyles is, and he's really good. He's obviously played really well in this league for the last couple of years. Mo Diabate's got a lot of pride in his defense too. So we've played some of the best players in the country this year. We've had different guys step up, want the assignment, which is good to have as a coach, and then step up and actually do the assignment pretty well.
Yeah, defense was smothering last night. Bama wins it by 20, 7-game win streak, 4th by 20 plus points, 4th in a row there for that. So, and it started with Sears, LT. I mean, the shots, the 3-point shots he hit, they were not just on the line. They were NBA-like threes, and he was 4 of 4 in the first half.
Yeah, he had a great first half. Aiden Holloway off the bench had a great second half. And back to, the defense. Murray Boyles, and he talked about undersized. He's at 6'7", really good scorer. You go back Saturday against Jeremiah Fears, didn't score in the first half. And Murray Boyles, if you take away the free throws, was 1 of 6, 2 points.
Yeah.
At home.
The guy you needed to score points.
Yeah. By the way, people, I don't know why, and I actually, as I was watching the video, I thought this might happen in the chat room asking, who's the guy sitting next to Nate Oates? That's our buddy Steven Gonzalez. He's a great guy. Guy that handles the media for Alabama basketball. That's Gonzo. Yeah. So good dude right there.
Don't know why it's framed up that way.
I don't either, but Gonzo got some FaceTime
He
today.
came from Liberty, though, right?
Yeah, he was at Liberty before he came to Alabama.
Was he with Freeze at Liberty? Did he work with Freeze?
No, he was in the basketball side.
Basketball.
With what was the guy's name that was there? That was
on the
really
show.
Nice coach. Really good interview. But, you talk about Sears, and after that 0 that he put up against Illinois, there were a lot of people like, boy, what's going on with Sears? What's going on with Sears? Here's his game since after scoring 22 last night. 24, 24, 11, 20, 27, 23, 16 in only 26 minutes against Kent State. 20, 22, 22.
It's exactly what you got last year.
Right back to where you were last year with a more talented roster around him.
That's right. And he's doing I think, a better job of distributing the basketball this year. He's had 59 20-plus point games in his career at Alabama. And remember, he started somewhere else his first 2 years. So 59 20-plus point games in his time at Alabama. He's a machine at scoring.
Yeah. I mean, there was that little, slice of early season this year where it seemed like he was kind of out of sorts, but he seems to be 100% back right now. And, going back to the Oklahoma game, they hit 9 threes. They win that game by 28. They only hit 8 on the road last night. They went by 20. So, again, in this bench, we talk about the depth. The bench was dominant Saturday against Oklahoma. They outscored the Gamecocks last night 39-4.
Yeah, and those 4 came late for South Carolina, too. My favorite part of the game, guys.
One field goal from South Carolina's bench. One field goal.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the game last night, Nate got pissed about something, and he does complete substitution. I think it was hustle or communication on defense. He puts 5 guys to check in. Take 5 out, put 5 in.
Complete line change.
Complete line change. For about 5 to 6 minutes on the floor was Holloway, Youngblood, Diabate, Millette, and Reed. Those are the 5 guys that were on the floor for about 5 minutes in the game last night. And in that time, Holloway scored 7 straight and 9 in the time they were on the floor together.
I was going to say, if that was your starting 5 and you had a decent bench, that's probably still a tournament team.
Oh, yeah. I think I don't know that they would win the conference, but I definitely think they would make the tournament. Yeah, just with that starting 5.
Yep.
I'll make one more point. You guys talked about defense. You may be able to help me here. I think when I gave you the KenPom defensive number yesterday, it was 44. If you guys remember, I think that's what it was.
They were 313th in scoring defense, but it was 44th in KenPom.
44th in KenPom because that adjusts for pace, right? Or adjusts for a lot of things. Among those are points per possession, basically.
I'm sensing a big jump coming up.
35. Yep. I mean, that's a significant jump in one game. Now,
South Carolina will do that for you.
Yeah, they will. Scott is showing you the KenPom ratings where Duke is 1, Auburn is 2, Bama is 8. But you see Alabama 3rd in offense behind Auburn and I had who was number 2, Connecticut, behind Auburn and UConn. And they're all the way up to 35th defensively. And it was, oh, gosh. I was trying to remember who sent it to us yesterday. It's a guy that Paul sent it to us. If you remove the North Dakota State game.
Yeah, North Dakota,
the North Dakota game. I'll get something right in this sentence in a moment. Yeah. If you remove the North Dakota game, Alabama's defensive metrics jump way up. Yeah. I mean.
Into the 20s, according to Paul, and I believe him there. If you forget that game, it was a nail-biter till the end, 97-90. Yeah. Alabama gave up 90 points on the road to North Dakota, which hurts their defensive numbers. So a big improvement there. Can you go back to the KenPom again, Forrester? Just the schedule that these two teams, Auburn and Alabama's played. Auburn's 2. They lost to Duke, who's 1. They beat Houston, who's 3. They beat Iowa State, who's 4. Alabama beat Illinois with Mark Sears scoring 0. Illinois is 7 on that list. And they beat Houston as well. Just an amazing little pre-conference schedule, and with Auburn and Alabama.
Well,
there
and
in
those
the top
teams
8.
you're mentioning, I believe, outside of your Auburn, your Florida, your Tennessee, and your Alabama, the way Duke is playing right now, the way Iowa State is playing, and watch out for Illinois. Illinois, under Brad Underwood, is playing great basketball right now. They are blowing teams out.
And the fact that Alabama beat them in Birmingham with Sears scoring 0.
It's crazy.
It says a lot.
It's probably their most impressive win, and I think Auburn's most impressive win is the win over Iowa State out in Maui, because if you remember that, they got double digits down, and Auburn came back and won that game. I think it was 83-81. And since then, Iowa State's been on a tear as well.
One thing I was pointing out to Scott in that KenPom that he was showing you earlier, in fact, I don't know if he can show you enough of it to make my point. Duke is number 1. The next highest ranked in the KenPom ACC team is Pitt at 27.
Yep.
Who Duke, I don't know if you guys happen to see.
I had Duke minus 12.5.
Well, that was an easy win because they ran them right out of Cameron on Monday night, or Tuesday night, excuse me. The ACC is Duke and a bunch of stiffs right now.
I agree. Alabama on the road at Texas A&M, number 10 in the country this weekend, 7 o'clock. Texas A&M survived Norman, who Alabama had just beaten Oklahoma last night, down 18 at one point in the second half. A&M came back and won that basketball game. It was a fun game. It was on after the Alabama game in the 8 o'clock window there, and just to battle back and get that win. It's a dangerous team. Alabama's got a tricky game on Saturday as they're one of the unbeaten teams. So is A&M in the SEC play right now. They happen 7 o'clock on Saturday. Auburn has South Carolina. Also last night, Ole Miss won in Fayetteville. So we had talked about home teams winning in the SEC the first weekend and into this week. Last night, all 3 road teams win. Alabama wins at South Carolina. Ole Miss wins at Arkansas. Ole Miss's first win in Fayetteville since 2015. And Texas A&M wins in Norman.
You said going into that Texas A&M Oklahoma game, like after Bama ran Oklahoma out of Coleman, you said, I don't know where that win is going to be at the end of the year, what quad it's going to fall in.
Yeah, and I thought it would be 2. You're lucky if you hold on at 2.
Yeah, and you said we'll learn a lot as Texas A&M goes up there. What did you learn?
That Oklahoma had a kid that they were not expecting have a career night shooting threes. He had 10 threes.
He had 30. Did he finish with 34?
I think Oklahoma's good.
Right.
I think they're going to end up being a bubble team. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I think they're going to be a 22, 23 win team.
46th in the net right now, to your point.
Yeah,
Alabama would like for them to stay in the top 50.
Yeah, they're a bubble team because I think they have They would have to be top 25
That's
because
true.
of the
Have
home
to be
game.
quad one,
yeah. Which is where they were when they beat them. But,
Yeah.
they'll be lucky to stay a quad 2, which needs to be top 50, right? Am I right about that?
Yeah, I have to pull up my quads.
Yeah.
Got to work my quads.
Yeah, work those quads out.
Yeah.
To college football, Brandon Marcello in the next segment, by the way. We'll talk about tonight and tomorrow night's semifinal games. We'll get to tonight's game, Notre Dame and Penn State, in just a second. After we tell you about a couple of our great sponsors, one of them is our friends at Hemp Hill. You know the weather by now, what's going to happen tonight into the morning and tomorrow and this weekend. It was 18 degrees when I turned on the truck this morning. I don't guess you turned it on when you cranked the truck this morning, 18 degrees. To get the ice off the windshield. Hemp Hill will help you out, even if you have busted pipes from the freezing temperatures. They can help you with that as well. And they present Lance's Lock. Lance's Lock.
Yeah, look, if you've got any heating issues right now, maybe it's the gas fireplace. Again, I had that issue. Ex-wife had the issue. They came out, cleared that up. If you experience any plumbing, heating, or cooling issue in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there, 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
And our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. UrologyCentersAlabama.com. 35 urologists, 16 locations. They'll take care of you. All your urological needs, from prostate health to kidney stones, vasectomies, UTIs, they'll handle it all for you. Visit UrologyCentersAlabama.com, UrologyCentersAlabama.com to schedule an appointment. Stay on top of your health, guys. As you get older, you need to know what's going on inside your body, especially the urological tract. Find that location near you. Call 205-930-0920 or UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Here we go. Semifinals tonight and tomorrow night. Notre Dame and Penn State this evening. Later on in the show, I'm going to ask you guys the question, Penn State wins if, Notre Dame wins if. But the biggest question going in, the biggest if right now going into this game, is whether or not Abdul Carter can give it a go for Penn State. He's a game-time decision. They were non-committal yesterday at Media Day whether or not he would play. Looks like he is going to play. How he plays will be a big factor in this game because he's absolutely disruptive.
Well, yeah, look, and this happened against Boise. It's a left shoulder arm injury, so I think it's better it's upper extremity than lower. I think he'll be able to battle through that. You wonder how he's going to be against the run, but look, I mean, he is fantastic. He's going to be a top 15 guy. He's number 2 in tackles for loss nationally with 22. He's got 11 sacks. And he was obviously a non-factor in a blowout win the last time they were out. But they have got to have a healthy Carter in order to win this game.
Yeah, because on the other side, you've got a healthy run game now, it appears, for Notre Dame, right?
Yeah, Jeremiah Love
says, I'm good to go. So we didn't see that in the Sugar Bowl against Georgia.
I'm going to say he's not 100%, but he's going to go.
Well, you remember Brooks Alston with us, the film guy, the day of that game said, based on everybody I'm talking to around Notre Dame, he's maybe 75, 80%. What percent did he look like in the game against Georgia to you guys?
He's on the sidelines a lot.
Yeah, so I'm not even sure, what the people were telling Brooks was even accurate at that time, right? So 75 to 80%. So now if maybe he is up to 75 to 80% after another week of rehab and rest, maybe he's a bigger impact than he was against the Georgia Bulldogs. Look, they were able to beat Georgia without him playing well, and that surprised me. Now,
Georgia was playing with a backup
Georgia
quarterback.
was playing with a backup quarterback and gave up a kickoff return for a touchdown and had a turnover in the last minute of the half. I mean, those are just mistakes you cannot make and win big games.
Yeah, and Jadarian Price is a good back, but he's not Jeremiah Love.
That's right. Love has that, as we saw in the first playoff game, has that breakaway power, but he's got great speed too, that 98-yard touchdown. It's the first time these two teams have played since 2007.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
This just seems like it's one of those Notre Dame would, and I know Michigan State, Stanford, USC, those teams are always on the schedule. You just would think Penn State would peek in every now and then.
With their independent histories, where they weren't tied to a conference schedule, you would have thought this would have been a pretty big rivalry back in the day,
There is some hate between, I was reading the old school Penn State fans and have always had a hate for Notre Dame, probably what you're talking about with the independents and Penn State not getting the respect over the years as an Eastern power because of their lack of schedule in the 70s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah, I think
80s.
these two teams, I don't think they get the hate anymore because they're not dominant anymore.
Right.
I mean, Penn State never wins the Big Ten. It's always like the third team in the Big Ten that you worry about.
Well, let's talk about that because it's something I want to bring up.
By the way, the only coach that I am pulling for in this thing is Marcus Freeman. We talked about this last night. If James Franklin was to luck up and win a couple of games, I cannot imagine the ego.
Well, one of these teams is going to be in the championship game, and it's a long time coming for whoever wins the national championship. For Ohio State, they won the national championship most recently, 2014, beating Alabama in the first college football playoff and going on to finish out Oregon. Before that, it was 2002 for Ohio State. For Texas, they did it in 2005, the Vince Young win over unbeatable USC. Before that, it was 1969 for Texas. So 2005, 1969.
We've said this a lot, but Texas national championships versus Texas perception would surprise a lot of people. Like Texas perception, you would think they've won 8 or 10 national championships.
Yeah.
They really have not. They have not contributed that much to the national championship category.
Notre Dame last won it in 1988. Before that, it was 1977. I look back. And I'm wondering why, as a kid, I hated them so much. They didn't win that much.
It was your dad.
Yeah, you think it was?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, old school Alabama fans hate Notre Dame.
Yeah. I was talking to one the other night that was like, if it's Ohio State, Notre Dame, this is before everything got settled, right? If it's Ohio State, Notre Dame, I don't even know if I can watch the game.
Well, I told you.
I was like, man.
I told you. I said, I'm going to find myself cheering for a team I have never cheered for in my life.
No matter who it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, Texas, I don't think I've ever cheered for Texas in a game ever. I know I've never cheered for Notre Dame in a game. I don't think I've cheered for Ohio State. In that rivalry, I've always cheered for Michigan. And I'm pretty sure I've never cheered for Penn State.
Yeah, tomorrow night's game is much trickier to me. I think tonight's game is, I hate to say this, I feel like I've got the side on tonight's game.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got this thing dialed in.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Very confident.
Interesting.
All right.
Very
I
confident
always
tonight's
ask
game.
you. I always ask you.
No, it's not like that.
Okay.
It's
not USC, Oregon, Florida State, NC State.
No,
okay.
no,
Those
no.
are,
But I do feel really, really good about
those
this
are your
game.
gold standards.
Yeah.
Those are the Lance Taylor gold standards.
Yeah, I would put this as a 9 out of 10. How about that?
Okay, 9 out of 10.
Penn State last won this thing in 86. They won it in 82, and I think that's their national championships.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, those two. So,
But how much does Marcus Freeman, I mean, I think we're all recognizing, Roman Harper talked about it yesterday, I mean, like, this guy is 13-5 now against top 25 teams. Well, I got to bring this up first. Our buddy Hamp McCorder came up, Georgia fan last night. He's like, I'm trying to figure out as a Georgia fan who I should pull for. And I guess it's Ohio State because they're not going away. Like if
he was looking at it on who would hurt Georgia the most if they won.
Yeah, like if Notre Dame, the more they win, the scarier they become, to me. Because Notre Dame has not been traditionally at least up there with Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia when it comes to recruiting.
Yeah, I would agree with you. They've had their issues in recruiting. But now with the transfer portal where they can develop players like Riley Leonard to come play for them, it is a bit of a different ball game for them, right? Maybe guys that they initially didn't get recruiting, they can get through the transfer portal, and their path to the national championship's better than it's ever been, really. I mean, they've got I'm not going to say easy access. I don't know that anybody has easy access to the college football playoff, but they've got easier access than they used to have.
But again, the narrative, I mean, Sarkisian, for the first time in his career, 10 wins in back-to-back seasons, plays for an SEC championship in year one. If they win it, watch out. If Ohio State wins it, again, Ryan Day's going to be 6-6 against top 5 teams. What can you say about Ryan Day? Everything goes away. And then James Franklin, a guy that couldn't win the big game, if he's to win 2 more games, he wins a national championship. Is it more, okay, James Franklin's a really good coach, or this is James Franklin's Jimbo Fisher moment?
Well, Jimbo had
Jameis Winston.
He had a generational player that James Franklin does not have.
Tyler Warren.
Yeah, I mean, that's a generational player, but he's not a quarterback all the time. Sometimes he is.
So let me ask you, Brown, tell us about Johnson RV.
Okay.
And after you do, here's my question. Rank the 4 coaches that are left in the playoffs, 1, 2, 3, 4. Who do you think the best coach is, second best, third best, and fourth best?
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicators where you find Johnston RV Center. As the calendar turns now to 2025, they got to move out the 24s. Shows coming up, so they got to have room. The Shasta 16 RE, only $149 a month. Lightweight with approved credit. You can get that for $149 a month. Something bigger, sleeps up to 10. The Avenger, 29 QBS, just $279 a month with approved credit. Don't forget that lifetime warranty on everything new and qualifying pre-owned. JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Just look at that graphic over there on TV, number 5. 7th-seeded Notre Dame against 6th-seeded Penn State. One of those is going to be in the playoffs. And what's the other game? It's 5 and 4.
Yeah. No, none of the top 4 seeds advanced.
That's right. It's 8 and 5.
Yeah. I mean, the seeding was so screwed up. I mean, that's the thing we'll look. I don't know, like.
They will fix that next year.
Once they fix it, like, I do wonder, 30 years from now, they look back and say, man, that first playoff, they were a bunch of upsets.
Yeah, underdogs.
Look at all those underdogs that survived.
Man, our 8th seed made it the first year.
By the way, I don't think there's any right way to do this.
On ranking the coaches.
Yeah, I'm not going to dog anybody out for whatever direction they put this in. I feel decent about 1 through 4.
Can we do what we always have to do? Is this, if I'm starting my program today, this is the guy I want? Am I ranking him based on his success level? What am I doing here?
I'm asking you, who is the better football coach? Who manages their program better, or calls plays better, or makes head coaching decisions the best? Who is really good right now at doing their job this moment in time?
To me, Ryan Day would be number 1 on the list.
Okay. If you were starting a program today, Lance Taylor University in Birmingham, Alabama, is Ryan Day the guy you'd hire?
I probably would hire Marcus Freeman.
Me too. That's who I wanted to put
I
number
had
1
Marcus Freeman
at
number 2. I mean, Ryan Day's just done too much. He's already played for a national championship, and I would rather have Marcus Freeman. Again, that's the only coach I feel like I can pull for of these 4. But I think Ryan Day is the most accomplished. I think Ryan Day is going to ultimately close this deal and win a national championship. So I would have Ryan Day 1, but right behind him would be Marcus Freeman.
There is some recency bias on how Marcus Freeman outcoached Kirby Smart in that last game. I mean, that was a dominating performance of X's and O's and schemes and making critical decisions at the right time, that Marcus Freeman is high on my list.
So who do you have 1?
I had him 1, and I had Ryan Day 2.
Yeah, it's Freeman Day Freeman for me. It's a really hard one. Like, I asked Lance the question, if I'm starting a program today, I think I would take Marcus Freeman, but then I would look at Ryan Day's success level and say, my gosh, that guy does. I'm not going to have to play Michigan at Ryan Brown University in Birmingham. They're not in our conference, so I'll take Ryan Day because Michigan's not going to be on my schedule.
I mean, really, if you pull Michigan away from his resume.
I know.
Yeah,
the only thing he doesn't have is a national championship at that point.
Yeah, you're right.
My only concern, and Brandon Marcello in the next segment, my only concern is that he gets all the great players. And I've always said, when you say that as a negative for Nick Saban, that's part of your job to get all the great players.
No doubt. I mean, you said that was kind of like your number 1 coaching criteria, right?
Absolutely. You've got to get the players, and then you coach them up after you get the players. He does a good job of getting the players, or the Ohio State system does, however it works out. I think Sark has done a really good job of changing Texas in his time there to make Texas what they are right now. And then there's James Franklin at the end for me.
He's 4th, definitely for me.
Yeah, I mean, those 2 guys, and Sark and Franklin, I mean, I just want to see them win big games. Now, they both got opportunities over the next couple of nights. James Franklin is so interesting because everybody swears by James Franklin like the recruiter and the guy that is building a program. I just don't know what you get on a Saturday.
That's the first of 2 semifinals, one tonight, one tomorrow night, 6:30 ESPN. We'll talk to Brandon Marcello more about the game and everything going on in college football. That's coming up on the other side. This is the next round. Thumbs up if you're watching us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment wherever you're watching the show. We're back in a moment here on TNR.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At The Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out TheBarnAuburn.com and CoverCrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Back with you on The Next Round as we roll into segment number 2, hour 1 today on this Thursday show. Brandon Marcello will join us in a second. By the way, some basketball tonight. Sanford at home in the Birmingham area before the winter storm rolls in. VMI and Sanford tonight at 7. A couple of good games in the Big Ten tonight. Oregon and Ohio State, 5 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. I mean, Auburn drilled Ohio State in a blowout game in Atlanta. Since then, Ohio State's been pretty good, and they'll be a tournament team. That's a good contest tonight. Oregon beat Alabama earlier this year. That's 5 o'clock Big Ten Network. 5 o'clock FS1 tonight is Purdue and Rutgers. We all know what Purdue is. Rutgers, I saw a question asked today. I don't know if it was the Field of 68 or if it was at CBS Sports. Rutgers could become the first team with 2 top 5 NBA draft picks to miss the NCAA tournament.
And it's hard to believe. And the Harper kid is unbelievable.
Yeah. Alabama has a win over Rutgers, but they've got talent, but they're not stacking up wins.
Yeah. I do have it's my only college basketball play tonight. I've got a side on that game.
On Purdue Rutgers?
Yep.
Yeah. Let me do something real quick. It's 100% on me. Brandon is 10, not 9:30. That's my fault. I told you guys 9:30. Brandon's at 10.
Okay.
So apologies. That's on me.
Okay.
Sorry about that, everybody.
Okay, so that's why Brandon's not popping
That's
up.
why
yet.
he is not on your screen right over there, Jim, because he's not supposed to be there till 10.
Well, I'm glad you confessed to that, because I would have been killing time here for. I would be talking Big Ten basketball, killing time, waiting on Brandon Marcello. I wouldn't have moved on to something more important.
Let's move on to something more important.
No, I'm glad. Okay, thank you, man.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
Sorry about that. That's on me.
That is quite all right. So we're getting ready for the NFL playoffs this weekend. A couple of things that happened yesterday. Jalen Hurts back at practice, sharp in his return. Those that cover the Eagles said he looked good in practice, so he looks like he is a go. The other player, the quarterback in that game, is Jordan Love. He says his elbow is still very, very sore, but he is expected to make a go of it as well. So 2 banged-up quarterbacks in that contest. Rematch of Week 1 down in Brazil when they played each other.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. Like the Eagles.
How long ago does that feel?
Yeah.
The Eagles with an 80% Hurts can win. I don't think Green Bay with an 80% Love can win. Love is going to have to be dominant, much like he was last year. Wild card round against Dallas. No Christian Watson. He goes out against the Bears. He's done for the year. So you don't have the weapons at 100% right now. But Love is going to have to be really good on the road to beat this Philadelphia team.
That's the afternoon game on Sunday. Primetime Saturday night is Pittsburgh and Baltimore. No Zay Flowers in this one. Unlikely to play for Baltimore.
That's a major, major factor. Now, the good news for Baltimore is it's not like you've got to outscore Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's offense is struggling right now.
10 might do it.
Yeah. So, Zay Flowers is a guy that you're going to need once you get to the divisional round, possibly the AFC Championship. But I think they've got enough to get by Pittsburgh without Zay.
That said, matchups make games, and it has been a difficult matchup for Baltimore. Pittsburgh has had their number in those. Obviously, they play twice a year. This time it'll be 3.
Yeah, and
but
don't
Pittsburgh's
discount,
had their number.
Mike Tomlin's a guy that's got 18 postseasons. This will be his 19th postseason career game. Obviously, Mike Tomlin can coach. And Russell Wilson, look, it's not like he's going to go out there and make mistakes. Russell Wilson is not the Russell Wilson he once was. Now, early back in September, October, he was playing good football. But on this stage, Russell Wilson has had, Lamar Jackson historically is going to be the better quarterback, but Russell Wilson postseason compared to Lamar, not even close.
He's been fantastic in the postseason, but I don't know if you guys were watching the game Saturday night when Aikman said basically Russell Wilson has become a check down or home run quarterback. I mean, that is it. And some of that might be the offense, but basically Aikman was like, all they're doing right now is trying to hit the home run, or it's a Russell Wilson check down.
You've only got one home run guy in George Pickens.
That's a problem, right?
And boy, he's been dropping balls left and right.
Yeah.
He has not been holding on to the football. All right, that's the NFL. It cranks up on Saturday, doubleheader, 3 games on Sunday, then Monday night, Minnesota and the Rams, where we could end up having that game played in Arizona. We'll keep an eye on that. Now we're the intersection of the NFL and college football meet. What Bill Belichick said about possibly being the head coach of the Raiders and other jobs after LT tells us about our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
Yeah, make the phone call that I made almost 22 years ago. 205-969-8100. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. After the procedure, which only took 12 minutes for both eyes, 2015 vision better than 2020. Make that phone call today. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. Call, get the absolutely free consultation today. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
Okay, so Bill Belichick took the North Carolina job. That surprised me, but he did it back on December the 11th. According to reports, Tom Brady specifically reached out to him about becoming the Raiders, if he had interest in becoming the Raiders head coach. And those that cover the NFL say several teams had gauged his interest if he was willing to get back into the NFL. So apparently this offseason, Belichick looks different than he did last offseason. Belichick said yesterday, I am not interested in going back to the NFL. I didn't come here to leave, was his quote.
Well, good for him. I heard yesterday that he's been making his rounds to a lot of the local high schools in recruiting.
It's so strange.
Can you imagine being like a guidance counselor and you're like, holy hell, there is Bill Belichick.
Maybe the greatest coach in NFL history.
Walking the cafeteria. I don't blame Belichick. We said this yesterday. Like, nobody wanted him. He was toxic last year. Everybody said he wants too much power, and now that he goes somewhere else, it's like, oh, I do want that guy. I want to see what he can do at the college level. I really do. He's done everything at the NFL level. He's won, 6 Super Bowls now, and now he gets an opportunity to go to a program that I think we all agree is kind of untapped.
But, we see this all the time in the NFL, how once you're an NFL coach, you're an NFL coach for life. I mean, you just look at some of these interviews, like Rex Ryan interviewing again with the team he used to coach for the Jets.
Pete Carroll is interviewing with the Bears.
Robert Saleh is just fired by the Jets, but there are teams that are like, I think I'd like Robert Saleh as my head coach. Doug Peterson will probably get another shot in the league. Like, it is remarkable that what would have been the ultimate retread is Bill Belichick, winningest coach, almost the winningest coach in NFL history. won more Super Bowls than anybody in NFL history, and that's the guy that doesn't get retreaded. Like, all these guys get retreaded in the NFL. Every one of them.
If you're the wife of an NFL head coach, you never need to panic.
You don't.
I mean, Dan Quinn is one of the ultimate examples. A guy that had the biggest Super Bowl meltdown we've ever seen. Yep, wears the hat, loves to wear it backwards like that.
DQ.
But they lose, they're up 28-3 on the Patriots. Yep. They lose. He gets fired a couple of years later, becomes a defensive coordinator again, making good money, 7 figures. And then he comes back, and now he's in a situation where maybe he coaches Commanders for the next 5 to 7 years.
The ultimate definition of this, Dunaway, is the story you did at the end of the show yesterday that Mike McCarthy, the Cowboys are basically holding him hostage because everybody wants him fired, but the Bears want to interview him. I'm like, the Cowboys want to fire the guy, and the Bears are clamoring to interview him.
Wait, you want him?
Yeah.
But we can't talk to him. We want him.
It makes no sense.
And that's what, I go more for these young guys. I know we brought up Liam Cohen, and I'm not a big fan of that, but like Ben Johnson.
Yeah, the Detroit offensive coordinator that everybody in the world wants, that's got to be their head coach.
I don't like Matt LaFleur at Green Bay, but he's had a lot of success.
Can't fire him.
Kevin O'Connell, obviously Sean McVay. I mean, these guys that they become first-time head coaches, they end up running with it. So I would rather take a shot at one of those guys.
Who's the 29-year-old that is about to?
You know who's going to be the Saints coach?
Who?
Joe Brady.
Joe Brady.
Yeah, he's finally going to get his head coach.
More than likely, yeah.
But I was talking to somebody last night that I know that is associated with the Saints franchise, the best way for me to word that. And he was like, that's going to be a mess. He said they're about to have salary cap issues. They're about to have to tear it down and rebuild it. So
Carr doesn't want to rework his contract, doesn't want to let him off the hook there. That's going to be a problem for the new coach.
Right.
It was a mess this year.
It was, but he was like, it's about to get worse because they're about to hit the salary. The salary cap has caught them now.
Yeah, I don't think that's one of those appealing jobs, but if you're Joe Brady, you take it.
Yeah, I understand why.
I guess. I mean, Brady's coaching one of the best offenses in the league. I mean, it seems like he could hold out for another job. Josh Allen ain't going anywhere. He's going to get to coach him again next year.
The Bears also are going to interview Matt Campbell.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I heard Marcus Freeman could possibly be in the mix. Now, if you're Marcus Freeman, I think he'd be insane to go.
Well, it is a struggling franchise with a fill-in-the-blank quarterback. You guys fill that blank in for me.
I think he's going to be really, really good.
Okay, well, that's who you want then, Jim.
Yep.
Well, if he's going to be really, really good, that puts you in the upper half of the league.
Yep.
Well, most of them aren't really good. If you know this, there is a head coach that was immortalized for winning one championship in Chicago.
Yeah.
Still got steakhouses. They still do SNL skits every now and then.
Yep.
So,
he's their guy.
If you are to win a championship there.
Who was it that took him back with Sexy Rexy? Was that Lovie Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lovie Smith took him back to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman.
Mm-hmm. What does it say about my Buccaneers or Baker Mayfield that the guy who was the OC last year, one and done, gets a head coaching job at Carolina?
Dave Canales.
And now Liam Cohen, who's one and done, and he's interviewing and could get a head coaching job. The perception is that Tampa sucks so bad. Look at what these guys are doing. Let's make them a head coach.
Actually won games.
Is that what it is?
I remember us in the old Jock Studios when Baker was coming out of Oklahoma, and I was like, I think this guy is going to be like the next Brett Favre. I thought he was going to be that good, and then, I don't know. I mean, part of it, I guess, was Cleveland, and it just didn't work out. But Baker Mayfield, I know a lot of people don't watch him because he's playing at Tampa.
Right.
He is really, really good. Like, he's a borderline top 10 quarterback right now.
Yeah. And what has happened after the Chris Godwin injury is that McMillan has stepped up for the Buccaneers. Evans is just a beast, and the run game is what Liam Cohen has brought back.
Oh, Bucky Irving has been fantastic.
They had no run game at the end of Brady's career and the start of Baker's time there. And Bucky Irving, another rookie, and then Rondell White, they've had a great combination of running the football. So fun weekend ahead in the NFL.
In the MyBookie.ag chat room, the Moon says Freeman would be nuts not to take the Bears job. See, I would disagree. So Freeman would not interview for that job until the Notre Dame season is over, so he'll know where he stands. I think he's pretty close right now. If he can find a way to win 2 more games, maybe even 1 more, he'll get such a long contract there.
Yeah, it's almost a lifetime contract. I mean, Charlie Weiss basically got it after winning 10 games in year 1.
Basically beat USC and got it, right, in the regular season.
And now, I agree with you. I think win or lose, I think Freeman's going to get that kind of offer.
No, man, I stick at Notre Dame. He's about to get generational money. I mean, he's about to get the old $70 million, even if I fall on my face, I'm living the rest of my life off Notre Dame. I mean, I don't give that up to go coach the Chicago Bears.
So one of these coaches, though, is going to win a national championship. Whose ego jumps the most?
James Franklin.
Oh, Franklin would be the most. Sark would be second.
Franklin would be unbearable.
He would be.
Yeah.
Sarks would be second. He might be a touch unbearable.
I'd say Day third and Freeman fourth.
Ryan Day will do the I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Victory
He'd do
lap.
the Dunaway.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you.
What's the Dunaway? Describe that to me.
He would go back and be really nice to people who criticize him, like, you guys were right. I can't coach, and we won the national championship.
Very condescending.
Yeah. Passive aggressive.
You know what? One of my favorite jilted lover revenge songs or whatever is oh God, I'm trying to think of the band. It was a one-hit wonder, I think. Oh God! Well, you had Toby Keith. How do you like me now? Right. That's a good one. The one I'm thinking of is why can I not say it? It was like a '90s rock song.
Who's the artist?
That's what I'm trying to say. If I say the artist, I'll remember the song. They were one-hit wonder.
Dunaway can usually fill in your sentences.
I know, and he can't do it right now. I want to say Fountains of Wayne, but that was Stacy's mom.
Nope.
That's not a jilted lover.
No. It's the exact opposite, in fact. Give You Hell. Who sang that?
All American Rejects.
All American Rejects,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
they blow a whistle on that song.
They do. But that is the great, that guy's like, you didn't want to date me. I hope every time you see my face, it gives you hell.
Yeah.
That's the point of the song right there. You say Ryan Day's going to be that guy? Like,
yeah.
All the Ohio State fans that want to be
So
fired.
I didn't read the article because I know you guys will agree with me. Sometimes when you see whatever the headline is, you don't want to read it. But Dennis Dodd did one yesterday. Win or lose a national championship, Ryan Day should leave Ohio State.
Wow.
Because of the heat he took, just to flip double birds to the fan base who
criticize
him.
Take the Bears job.
When you take that job, though, if you're going to lose 3 or 4 consecutive years to Michigan, you kind of know what you're getting into. You're making $10 million. You got to be able to deal with that.
Yeah, by the same token, I guess Kalen DeBoer should leave Alabama. People, there's been a tremendous amount of criticism for him.
Yeah, but he had not done as much at Alabama as Day has done at Ohio State. I think that's the problem with Day is the guy has won you a ton of football games. I know he struggled against Michigan. I get it. Boy, we would view this guy so differently if he just hadn't gotten so conservative in that final possession against Georgia. Because he wins a national championship.
No, I think the way
we
we would view him, if he would have beaten Kirby there and wins this one, he would. I think everybody's list would be Ryan Day's best coach in college football.
That's right. He's number one.
Because you would take one away from Kirby. Kirby would have one, and then Day would have two.
Right. Yep.
One other coach that's getting likely when his season's over will get a look again, and this will drive LT crazy. Cliff Kingsbury. It looks like he is a hot candidate to be a head coach again in the National Football League.
If you look at the Vegas odds right now, your favorite to get the Chicago Bears head coaching job is Cliff Kingsbury. Now, whether or not that plays out, we shall see. But, his familiarity with Caleb Williams and what he has been able to do with quarterbacks. And, look, for a minute, Kyler Murray looked like an MVP in Arizona. And then it completely fell apart. I think Kingsbury is a really good offensive guy. I just don't know how good he is at delegating and when you get into the meat of a game with the X's and O's.
Your real knock on him goes back to his college days.
Yeah, you had Pat Mahomes for 4 years.
Best
or for
quarterback
3 years.
in the NFL, lock Hall of Famer.
And I don't think he ever he might have beaten one top 25, but I don't think he ever won more than 7 games.
He barely made bowl games.
Yeah.
And Pat Mahomes was quarterback for 3 years.
Show being brought to you by our friends at Way to Wellness. We'll get back into tonight's Notre Dame game with Penn State in just a second. A sidebar at Media Day yesterday that turned into talking points. We touched on it yesterday, but I want you to hear from the coaches about it. Way to Wellness wants you to hear this right now. If you go to this website at planforme.com, you can find a way to jumpstart your weight loss here in 2025. You can also find a way maybe to lower your blood pressure, your cholesterol numbers. They got a variety of ways to do it, all with board-certified medical professionals. They got meal replacements, injection therapy. It's medical weight loss supervision with our friends at Way to Wellness. Leslie and her board-certified team there to take up for you and take care of you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and the first consultation is free. Planforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Let's go cut 3 and cut 4, Tyler. First, Marcus Freeman gets asked about Notre Dame being an independent. I used to love Notre Dame's schedule, though, as an independent because I always loved the Notre Dame-Michigan game. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame-USC is one of the great rivalries there. They'd occasionally play Michigan State or
Stanford. I mean, those were good games back in the day.
Or they'd come play a team from the South in Alabama or somebody like that. Miami. I mean, it was a good schedule.
Florida State.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I think their relationship with the ACC, playing those, is it 4 games they play?
4 games a year, and it has watered down their schedule.
It's hurt their schedule.
It really has.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's hurt their schedule. Marcus Freeman gets asked while sitting next to James Franklin about being an independent and how he views that. Here's Marcus Freeman.
I view it as a pro, and we'll continue to look at it and that way unless something changes. We get to really view our program as a global in terms of a national program in terms of how we play and the audience we play in front of. Now, it's not much different than the Big Ten now with, UCLA and USC and some of the West Coast teams being in it. But again, it's just, we view being independent as a positive thing, right? And we sell it to our recruits and our players as a positive thing. And we know we can't play in a championship game, and we can't have a first-round bye, but we continue to use not playing Week 13 as our bye, and that's the way we view it.
Have you guys seen their schedule next year?
I have. I was about to say, if they play next year's schedule this year, they would have been I don't know if they'd been in the playoffs. They'd been a fascinating team. Have you seen it?
I think next year's schedule is a great schedule.
It is, but I'm saying if they had played it this year, and you'll see why.
You think they would have had 2 or 3 losses?
Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
Listen,
okay.
Here it is. Next year at Miami. If they had played that this year,
Cam
Ward and Miami in the orange.
It's a coin flip.
In Hard Rock, excuse me. They would host Texas A&M. Now, we saw that in College Station.
Yeah, they already won that
That's
game.
right. Yeah. Purdue at Arkansas. I mean,
that's a tough game.
That's a tricky game for them. And then here's the one, Boise State. They would have hosted Boise this year with Ashton Genty. They will not face Ashton Genty next year when they host Boise. USC, who they played, Navy, who they played at Pitt with Eli Holstein, the way he played.
Yep.
At Boston College, it depends on what time of year you caught them. Once they lost Castellanos, they weren't very good. NC State wasn't very good. And then Syracuse, sneaky Syracuse game at home against Kyle McCord in Syracuse.
I mean, that's a fun schedule next year.
Yeah. It would have been a lot more fun this year, though, with Cam Ward and Ashton Genty.
Now, those teams, I think A&M will be better next year. USC will be better, and I don't know. Yeah. I mean, most of those teams are not going to be as good as they were this year.
It looks more interesting than what they played this year, though, by far and away.
New quarterback at Miami. Texas A&M quarterback back. Arkansas quarterback, they found him, right?
Yeah, Taylor Green will be back.
Taylor Green will play for him.
Boise State's not losing everybody, but they lose Genty.
Yeah, they're losing
Maddox Madsen, the other quarterback, is coming back, and he's a lot better than I thought he would be.
BC's doing some work in the portal. Mm-hmm. NC State was disappointing this year.
Very.
Syracuse was good. I think they'll get better, and I think Holstein's back.
Watch out for Syracuse.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to have a Kyle McCord again, but Fran Brown, he recruits tenaciously. He is obviously a Kirby Smart disciple, and what they did in year 1 under Fran Brown was pretty incredible.
You're right about Holstein, because this was his first year of eligibility that he used. That stunned me when I realized that after he got that start against Pitt. Like, this dude's got 3 more years of eligibility.
And I think I saw somewhere that McCord is trying to get another year of eligibility.
Yeah, I was going to check that real quick.
Well, what's it based on? Did he play JUCO?
I know he didn't play JUCO.
Oh, is there an injury or something like that?
So he, and just to let you know, so he started his career in 21 at Ohio State. So he missed the 2020 season. He only had 20 snaps in 2022. So maybe that's where you get the year back. He played 21. I don't know how many games he played in. 22, I don't think he played enough. 23 was obviously the starter at Ohio State in last year. I think he should be able to come back, probably.
Yeah, so
that would be huge.
He's going to try to get another year, so we'll see if that works out for Kyle McCord there at Syracuse. All right, on the other side, James Franklin, sitting next to Marcus Freeman, hearing them talk about independence. This is what LT brought up because it flashed on our screens yesterday during the show that James Franklin, it's not bulletin board material, but he had an honest opinion about, while sitting next to Marcus Freeman, about Notre Dame's independence. Here's James Franklin.
Obviously you talk about just the differences between our 2 programs and conferences. I think it should be consistent across college football. I think, again, this is no knock at Coach or Notre Dame, but I think everybody should be in a conference. I think everybody should play a conference championship game, or no one should play a conference championship game. I think everybody should play the same number of conference games. I was a head coach in the SEC. I've been a head coach in the Big Ten. I was in the SEC when the whole conversation was whether to go to 8 or 9 conference games. We voted, all the coaches voted against going to 9 games. The commissioner agreed and kept it at 8. I think it was one of the better decisions as SEC made. The Big Ten went to 9 games. And, you know, I was not a math major at East Stroudsburg, but just the numbers are going to make things more challenging if you're playing one more conference game. So I just think things need to be consistent across college football.
Boy, I tell you, the Big Ten has spent years beating their chest that they play 9 and the SEC only plays 8. To hear one of their premier coaches say, SEC got that one right, by the way, 8 and not play 9, that's pretty crazy because they have beat their chest on that one for a while.
I don't disagree with what he's saying, but Notre Dame, why would you come to a conference now?
Yeah. Well, for instance, we talked about it last week, making the semifinals, each one of these schools get $14 million. They've earned $14 million from the college football playoff just, you know, out of nowhere. $14 million.
And by the way, the buy is obviously overrated based on what we've seen.
Notre Dame, by the way, keeps all of that $14 million. Penn State and Texas and everyone else throws it back into the conference coffers, and it gets divided up among other conference members.
Man, it's hard to believe that James Franklin is this cocky, being 1-14 against top 5s. That's almost impossible to be 1-14 against top 5s. Now, he's got an opportunity. That's AP top 5s, and right now Notre Dame is currently number 3 in the AP poll, so you've got an opportunity to get another notch there.
I was going to say,
of course, it could go the other way, too,
that I would wager Notre Dame's schedule is more difficult than Penn State's next year. I did pull up Penn State's, and they play both Oregon and Ohio State. Ohio State on the road, Oregon at home next year.
They play USC again?
They do not play USC. So that's going to weight their schedule a little bit more. Their out-of-conference is awful.
Yeah.
But, you know, you could do the whole in-conference, out-of-conference argument, but that's, I mean, we just looked at next year's Notre Dame schedule. I think that's a good schedule. Like, I don't think they're dodging a ton of people, right? They're playing 2 SEC teams, one of them on the road.
Yeah.
No, that's, I mean, you can't say they're dodging anybody.
You know, they're taking,
it's a really good schedule.
They're playing Boise State. You don't have to play Boise State. I mean, it's a roll of the dice playing Boise State. You could have caught them this year, and that's a tough game for just about anybody.
And for fairness, Ohio State, they open next year with Texas. So you get a rematch of the semifinal game to start next year's college football season. Ohio State, Texas, who could be 1-2 when you start things off next year in the AP poll.
Yeah, you're right about that. That could be 1 versus 2 week 1. It wouldn't shock me.
Start things off. All right, Brandon Marcello coming up on the other side. The show being brought to you by Dr. B, LT, with his L.A. Dodgers hoodie on.
Represent L.A., man. City today.
Yeah, that's right, man. It's your adopted city.
Yeah, well, look, my girl from Malibu, she has got a lot of friends. Properties have been destroyed. I mean, it is an absolute mess, and the more you dig into it, really, really sad situation. Also sad situation, people's hair when you start to lose it, right, Dunaway?
It is. I mean, James Franklin and I had a conversation the other day that at some point you just got to let it go if you didn't get to Dr. B soon enough.
Oh, I wanted to ask you guys, there was somebody I saw last night, and I was wondering if it's real or not. Because you guys are really good at that. I'll think of it in a second. Anyway, if you want to maintain, you want to grow back, Dr. Beckenstein is the absolute best in the business. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to him for a range of cosmetic procedures, reconstructive procedures. He will use his experience, advanced training, genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today, 205-319-0316. That's 205-319-0316. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. That is it. My hair has more than doubled in thickness over the last couple of years. For more information, you can always go online, t3hair.net.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA-certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by the professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well done service.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there. By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Notre Dame holding on as a slight favorite as we get back to the college football playoffs tonight. In Miami, Notre Dame and Penn State, 6:30, the Texas-Ohio State game tomorrow. In the Cotton Bowl, where obviously on the map, proximity to stadium, proximity to campus, home field advantage Texas, talking to my friend at the Cotton Bowl, closer to 50-50 ticket sales.
Ohio State travels.
Than they expected.
Yeah, Ohio State travels. We saw that down in New Orleans when Alabama played them in 2014, excuse me.
Yeah.
Alabama fans are outnumbered, and they don't get outnumbered in New Orleans very much.
I mean, I think that was about a 50-50 split.
Maybe so. It was close. Brandon Marcello is with us. CBS Sports, 24/7 Sports, and also part of the Middle Eight that we do during football season. He's kind enough to join me each week. What is up, Brandon? How are you?
What's going on, guys?
Not much. I was thinking about you coming on last night, so much so that I gave Dunaway and Lance and Taylor and everybody the wrong time and said 9:30 is just 10 when you said, "I'll come on at 10." But I was thinking about it last night. I was thinking how interesting it is because I remember the Monday after Ohio State, Michigan, on the Middle 8, playing your video of you basically following Ryan Day, wandering around the field, lost, soulless, nowhere to go, didn't know what to do next. His team is fighting, and he's just staring off into the distance. From that day to where this team is now is light years.
Yeah, and it's finally because they got out of their own damn way. They decided, hey, let's throw the ball to Jeremiah Smith. Let's be more aggressive offensively. Defensively, they've been doing everything the way they want to, and for that matter, it's because Ryan Day hasn't really been dabbling in the defense. He's been dealing with that offense, and you let Chip Kelly, your mentor, who made his name coaching and calling plays offensively, do what he does, you're going to be explosive. In that Michigan game, as everybody knows, for whatever reason, it seemed like Ryan Day was trying to prove a point. And that point was, we're more physical than Michigan, and we're going to be able to run the ball against them. And listen, you can run the ball, but you don't need to be doing it on downs that just made no sense. But anyway, beyond that, Ryan Day just looked like a guy out of place and just completely disconnected. I mean, it was like he was pulled out of the Matrix or something like that and realized that nothing was real during that game. His response, as you said, after that game was just weird. And then afterward, the players took it upon themselves. I know it sounds cliche. This is what happened. The players took it upon themselves. They all gathered together in the days after that game and just said, we can't let this crap happen again. The coaches saw that, they heard about it, and they agreed with that and decided, let's be more aggressive as coaches too. And it seems like everything's kind of come together here, obviously, in the playoff. They've been absolutely dominant, and they're working up to their own expectation, which is they're the best team in college football. They're the richest team in college football and the best built roster in college football. So why not play like it?
Well, look, if they do close the deal, Brandon, Ryan Day's going to end up being 6-6 against top fives all of a sudden. They've got a national championship. I think it's kind of scrubbed what our opinion is on Ryan Day if they do, in fact, win this. So let's take him away. The other three coaches, though, James Franklin, Marcus Freeman, Steve Sarkisian, whose life changes the most and program changes the most with a national championship?
I'm going to say James Franklin just because he's been there a decade, and the big question around him, much like Ryan Day, is you just can't win the big game. And for that matter, his record obviously is worse in those type of situations.
1-14 versus top five.
Yeah, and they've always been just knocking on the door, and they've been knocking on the door for the better part of this last decade of getting in the playoff. But the thing is that even in the 12-team field, if it existed the last 10 years, they would have been in it more times than not. And now you sit there and wonder, well, if they were in it, then maybe James Franklin would already have a national championship under his belt, considering how they're performing right now. I don't know about that, but having said that, I think his life would change the most. Penn State's life would change the most. It's been a very long time since they've been in a national championship type conversation. And for them to be able to do that and win all these games in a row without a first round bye would be huge. It would cement James Franklin's legacy. It would erase a lot of the things from the past. And it would probably also open the door, as I mentioned, to a lot of the fans sitting there going, well, what would have happened if the field was 12 teams in the past? We've always been right there. We would have made it in. Could James Franklin have won us other national titles when people didn't expect it? But, they've got to get through these next two games, obviously, and do so against opponents that are much, much tougher than their first two rounds.
Am I wrong? I look at this game, and all due respect to Love, the running back, and Riley Leonard's legs, Penn State has a ton more offensive weapons in this game, right?
Yeah, I agree. The thing is that do you have the quarterback in Drew Aller who's going to be able to maybe stretch the field at times when they need to and do so consistently? I still don't see that consistency from him in that stretch. But again, Penn State's winning ball games by playing obviously great defense. They've had 3+ takeaways in these first two games in the playoff and running the football. They've averaging more than 200 yards per game on the ground in the playoffs because of the two great running backs that they've got. And to me, they're set up more well offensively to win a game like this. But as we've seen, with Notre Dame, or for that matter, really in any of these playoff games, including like an Arizona State, which lost, but you need gamers at quarterback, and then also elsewhere on the field, guys that can just take over a game or take over a drive or two for you. And Notre Dame has that. I don't know if Penn State has that in Drew Aller. Notre Dame has that in Riley Leonard. We saw it against Georgia in that Sugar Bowl, being able to run the ball effectively and be able to also keep the ball on busted plays and stretch things out. The big question for me about, though, going into this game for Notre Dame is the health of their running back, Jeremiah Love. He left that game, and he was going to try to come back in, but they didn't need him. Is his knee completely healthy? Because if he's out, I'm not sure that Notre Dame's got maybe the firepower to be able to score 3 touchdowns against Penn State's great defense. And if that's the case, it's going to be very, very hard to win that game.
Brandon Marcello with us at @BMarcello on social media. You also see him on 24/7 Sports at CBS Sports. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. And that's the thing about Riley Leonard is I mean, I'd have to pull it up, Brandon, but I don't think I have ever looked at a line from him and thought, man, did he play a great game. But they win a lot of the games he plays, and he seems like one of those – God, I don't want to call him a game manager, Brandon. I don't even know if that's the right moniker that you would use. He's like a guy that does just enough to win you football games and doesn't get you beat, which is kind of like a game manager.
Yeah, but, I mean, he does take the game over when he needs to. He did so against Georgia on that last drive, being able to run the ball. There's several plays in the first half that he was able to move the ball very well. He only finished with 80 yards passing, but that's not his strength. His strength is being able to run the football, extend plays, and open things up for other players. And to me, the key for Notre Dame is I think Notre Dame's going to get theirs offensively, and by that I mean they're probably going to be able to score 3 touchdowns, which is the way Notre Dame wins games. Can their defense slow down Penn State's 2-headed running back attack, and then Drew Aller, if he's able to hit 2 or 3 passes beyond the sticks and for big plays? Can the defense also force turnovers? Notre Dame is the most opportunistic team remaining in the playoff. They were in the top 2 nationally in turnover margin going into the playoffs. And Penn State here lately has been able to turn other teams over. 3+ in the last 2 games. That's what Notre Dame thrives on. You saw it in the Sugar Bowl, in fact, turning Georgia over and being able to also end promising Georgia drives that were going to score points for them. That could have made that game much different. That's how Notre Dame wins. They turn you over at opportunistic times and then also turn those turnovers into their own points. Can they do that against Penn State?
A month ago, Brandon, you couldn't have talked me into one of these 2 teams, Notre Dame or Penn State, winning a national championship. The winner of this game, do you think they have a legitimate shot at beating the winner of Ohio State, Texas?
Yes, because one, Penn State's already played Ohio State once, and it's great to have film and also just the one-on-one matchups. You've already seen them. You already know what the tendencies are. That helps. And then with Notre Dame, I think Notre Dame's got the best defense remaining in the field, potentially maybe the best defense in all of college football anyway, when we just look at it on paper. I think it's the best defense I've seen in person this year, up close. They were incredible, I thought, against Georgia, their plan. Gunnar Stockton got the ball out of his hands when he should have been sacked maybe an additional 3 times in that game. He should have suffered 6 or 7 sacks. But Notre Dame is a terror defensively. And I thought that they would take a little bit of a step back with Riley Mills, their great defensive tackle out, their sacks leader, but they didn't. So I actually kind of like their chances against an Ohio State in the national championship game for both of these teams. But does that mean I would pick any of them? Oh, probably not. But I do think those would be much better matchups than, say, what we're going to get in the Cotton Bowl between Texas and Ohio State.
Since you're here today and not tomorrow, I want to ask you about Texas and Ohio State. Texas's defense was a certain level, but if we're doing one of those graphs, it feels like second half against Georgia down. Clemson first round slipped a little further, and I thought it slipped a little further against Arizona State. Do you have an opinion on what has gone wrong with Texas's defense all of a sudden?
Well, it's kind of been like that most of the season. I've watched them once in person this year. I just don't see them drive to drive being a consistent defense. They allow too much, even across the middle of the field, which is kind of strange to me. But also, offensively, that's what concerns me is the play calling. And this happens in a lot of games where in the second half, if they're up or whatever, Steve Sarkisian, not to say he's packing it in, but they stop calling things. I also think there's some hesitation there with Quinn Ewers and still calling plays for him, trying to keep him out of trouble at quarterback. That bothers me. And I think that's what did them in more so against Arizona State than, say, the defense. Cam Scatterbo was going to get his at some point in that game, but the offense, that was up to them for Texas to continue to be aggressive, and they weren't doing so play calling wise. And listen, say what you want about Texas's defense. I mean, Ohio State's going to be able to score probably 4 touchdowns against any defense remaining in the playoff. And Texas's defense is probably in the middle of the pack among these 4 teams, which is still top 10 worthy, top 15 worthy. But among all the defenses remaining in this playoff, they're the one that I've seen up close and in person this year, and I just go, I don't see anything really all that special about them. They're much better defensively than I thought they were going to be going into this season because of them losing those 2 defensive tackles, but it just doesn't seem, the juice just doesn't seem to be there possession to possession.
I don't know how well you know Marcus Freeman, but whether he loses tonight or wins 2 more games and wins a national championship, how realistic do you think it is if the Bears were to offer him the head coaching job that he actually would go to Chicago?
Oh, man, it's a great question. I think it's a difficult question. My gut tells me from talking to people around him since the Sugar Bowl is that he would stay if something like that were to happen, if it's a realistic option. I think he's completely sold on what he's done at Notre Dame and what he can do there, the changes he's made, the type of players he's been brought in. I wrote a story last week that I think really kind of encapsulates everything about him, is that he's turned Notre Dame into a bunch of misfits, is what he called them. And Notre Dame, we know that, with the Catholics and the tradition there, to hear them say we're misfits is just crazy. And he wants guys that are just absolutely obsessed with football, guys he can mold and build. I don't know if that's something he'd be able to do in the NFL, though I think he'd probably do very well in the NFL considering his demeanor. But right now, with it being so early in his career at Notre Dame, I don't think he would bite on the NFL at this point, especially if it was and like you said, it'd probably be the Bears. I don't see he'd bite on that.
Now do Matt Campbell.
Yeah, I think he'd leave.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he would. I think the time's now, and I think he probably knows that, considering the opportunities that have come and gone over the last 6 to 7 years, 5 to 6 years. And I think that if they came calling and offered him the job, I believe, my opinion is that Matt Campbell would end up leaving for the NFL.
Well, it just seems like a weird fit to me.
Yeah, I mean, he was mentioned for so many college jobs and appeared just to be so loyal to Iowa State. The fact that it would be a pro job that gets him out of there would be so wild.
Well, I'll say this: the last few years is that there's been a lot of chatter about like that there being some not necessarily desire, but some ideas and fittings there that they believe that he would fit very well in the NFL, and that there was maybe some interest in that regard. And obviously, there is with him talking now to them. And I think if he was offered, I think he would leave.
Before you go, it's weird when I see the little numbers, but beside our Final Four teams, the 5 seed, the 6 seed, the 7 seed, and the 8 seed, are you hearing any positive movement forward on us redesigning this by the 2025 playoffs to get the seeding right in this thing?
We'll find out here in about like 10 days when the everybody meets down in Atlanta before the national championship game. And by that, I mean all the FBS commissioners start discussing things. There is a possibility they could change the seeding structure. And by that, you mean not allowing, or I should say, just saying if you're the top 12, that's how we're going to seed it. We're not going to say the 4 highest ranked conference champions get an automatic first round bye. It's just whoever's ranked 1 through 4 in our rankings. That is a possibility for 2025. Any other big changes, wholesale changes, that's not going to happen until at least 26. But those discussions continue on an unofficial level in the background. But it's going to come up here in the next 10 days when they meet in Atlanta before the national championship game. And I don't know if we'll get a resolution there, but I think we'll hear whether this is going to be a realistic possibility. So just be patient. Probably in the next 10 days or so, we'll probably have a very good idea of where they're going to go.
All right, at B. Marcello on social media. See him at 24/7 Sports at CBS Sports. He is Brandon Marcello. Thank you very much for the time, Brandon. And enjoy the games. Always great talking with you.
All right, see you guys.
Brandon with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. While we were talking to him, it's a small story, but I find it kind of interesting. And Tennessee fans, I think, will as well. Mike Keith, who is one of the best in the business. You guys have heard of him.
Voice of the Titans.
Voice
Titans
of the Titans.
play-by-play guy.
That's right. One of the best in the business is replacing Bob Kessling as the voice of the Tennessee Volunteers. Kessling retiring at the end, I think, of basketball season. I think will be his final games for Tennessee. And Mike Keith is leaving the Titans to take that Tennessee Volunteer job.
I'm not surprised.
So
yeah, he's a alum at Tennessee.
Yeah.
So he's actually leaving the Titans. He's going to try to be like Deckerhoff with my Buccaneers, and he did Florida State.
Right. That's the way it's being reported, is that he will be leaving the Titans.
Yeah, who's the guy that did Falcons?
Wes Durham did Falcons at Georgia Tech for quite a while. It's doable. Like Dave Pasch, many don't know, he does the Arizona Cardinals, but he also does ESPN games. So Bob Wachusen, who does ESPN games, does the New York Jets on radio.
What type of money do you think the voice of a big program makes?
Tennessee, I would imagine
couple
to
$100,000?
lure him away from the Titans. I'm going to say it's going to be $200,000 plus.
A couple $100,000. And he's a high-profile guy in that state. That's a good hire for Tennessee. And he went to school there.
Well, and I think it's fun for Mike Keith. You know, he gets to go around the country with these NFL games to, 31 other locations, but just something about calling the game on a Saturday.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I don't know how many people listen to the radio broadcast in the NFL. I do think there's still some loyalty about being the voice of in college football, and good basketball too if he's going to call the basketball games. And he is one of those animated guys that will wake up the echoes of Larry Munson, Jim Fife, and those types. He's really tremendously animated and really, really good at what he does.
Yeah, he's one of the best in the business. Just in that craft of calling a game and the way he does it, he's spectacular. So that's a good hire by Tennessee.
Yeah. Show being brought to you by our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. That's Greg from Pell City. Probably won't be on a roof tomorrow for you because he'd slip and fall and slide off onto your grass, and you don't want that. But today or next week, Greg will get up there and give you a free no-cost roof inspection. Free, no-cost roof inspection with no obligation. He just wants you to know what's going on up there. So many things are preventative if you know what's happening up there. You're not going to get on the roof, so let Greg from Pell City do it. 205-542-3531. 542-3531 or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. One thing he does do, because he's been doing this locally for so long, he's really good at helping you through the insurance process. He knows so many of the insurance providers, the guys who are going to come out and say you get this or you get that in claims, and he's able to help you tremendously when it comes to the insurance. Take it from a couple of my friends who've used Greg. Tremendous help. He worked his butt off to make sure they got 100%, 90% coverage on their roofs there. That's what he'll do for you. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. Locally owned, family owned there for over 20 years. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg from Pell City, 205-542-3531. Or just look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City. Also, last night was trivia night at Odie's. What was the question again?
Which came first, the Empire State Building or Elvis?
Empire State Building for me was ironically being built during the Depression in my head. So I'm going to say 1932. And what was the other one?
Elvis.
I feel like Elvis was 18 in the 50s. So I'm going to say Empire State Building 32, Elvis 42. No, he was in World War II. So I'm going to say 38, Elvis.
Elvis was on the show yesterday. He was 90, or would have been 90, so 1935.
Okay.
Do you have a guess here?
I'm going to go with 1922 for the Empire State Building. It would have had to be before the 30s because it was in King Kong.
April 11th, 1931, the Empire State Building opened up. So Empire State Building before Elvis. Some of the little things that you learn. Odie's Team Trivia every Wednesday night. Me and Brown were out there last night. Had a really good crowd. A lot of people hanging out after the Alabama-South Carolina game. Great place to watch college basketball, the college football playoffs tonight, tomorrow night, live music every Friday and Saturday night. Both locations, the original Crestline, newest location in Edgewood. Great food from Rodney Davis, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Get in, see Will Haver and that great staff. It's a Birmingham institution. It's Odie's Tavern.
Only missed it by a year, Tyler, or as Stephen Pearl would say, Jim, what was that first elevator ride up to the top? What was it like? What was it like?
You were in college back then.
Yeah. Have y'all done the Empire State Building in your visit studio?
I have not. I went to this boutique bar and I let the kids go up to the Empire State. This is a couple of years ago. I did do the Sears Tower again this year.
Yeah, I've done Sears Tower and Hancock. Yeah.
That elevator ride on the Sears Tower, or Willis Tower, I should call it.
Your ears pop the whole time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Is Hancock in Chicago as well?
Yeah. It's a good. I think they say it. A lot of people say it's got the better of the two views.
Yeah, I agree. I think
it does too.
Signature room at the John Hancock is a place to go. Sip a cocktail and just look out at really all four angles of the city.
But the Sears has the glass floor.
That's right.
Okay.
Now called the Willis Tower, but it was traditionally the Sears Tower when we were growing up. It's got the glass where you can walk out. I couldn't do it. My daughter did, but I couldn't.
Me and Jack were going to do it, and I don't like heights, but I told him when we got up there, I was like, I'm finally going to walk out on the glass.
I froze.
The line was like 100 yards deep, and I was like, we ain't walking out.
We did it, and Anna Kate, my oldest, walked right out when it was our turn, and I froze. I could not make myself
You heard about
do
it cracking, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember the story. We did the story.
On trash.
On trash.
It's just the top part. It's very
Can you imagine?
It ain't going to matter for me.
I didn't walk out there.
Do you think you died before you hit the ground with a heart attack?
Oh, yeah. I don't think you ever know you hit the ground.
I hope so. But I
think your body would just immediate shock.
We saw it wasn't as big, but, the first episode ever, if you haven't watched it, that's on you, of Ozark, when her boyfriend gets thrown off the balcony.
A little bounce.
Dude, when he hits, his shoes fly up.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that's instant when you hit?
I think what you do in that situation, if you want the authenticity, is you weigh out a body that's 220 pounds. You put that together, you put shoes and everything on, and you just let it go and see what happens.
How about I had the most vivid dream last night? That I was watching golf on television, and a woman slipped into a water hazard, and a hippopotamus grabbed her and whirled her around and then drug her under.
Did they stop play?
I woke up, so I don't know who won the tournament. I don't know if they stopped play, but it was a vivid dream.
So where was the tournament?
I don't know. They
Tasmania
had a hippo in the water, though.
Some of those PGA Tour guys they'd back off, and the caddy would scream, "Would you hold it down?
Quiet, please.
He's trying to putt over here." All right, one more thing here before we get to our next segment. Tyler has our 4 downs, which will be part of the next segment as well. Johni Broome is on his way if he stays healthy and he's going to keep doing what he does because he's a double-double machine. It's just unbelievable. But I just saw the betting odds to be Player of the Year, the Wooden. I saw it last night. 1-3 is Broome's odds. Cooper Flagg is second. Just a tremendous favorite to now walk away with the National Player of the Year.
I thought Flagg might have a bit of an edge there just because he plays at Duke. And I don't think Duke's roster is what Auburn's roster is. It's how many times you've ever been able to say that, right? And I thought Flagg would stand out even more than Broome. And through half the season, I am incorrect on that. Broome's the better of the two players.
No, right now, but Flagg is coming on. Duke is coming on. So I think it will be a battle. I think the odds probably will tighten up a little bit. But, if they gave out the award today, you would give it to Broome. Even in a loss to Duke, he had 20 and 12. He is so freaking consistent.
I just pointed out Duke's schedule's not going to be great in the ACC. I don't know how much that's going to play into it. Broome's going to play a lot more meaningful games. Again, this sounds so weird to say this, but Broome at Auburn is going to play far more meaningful games than Flagg at Duke. That ACC is just not great.
Oh, I'd love to see Duke in the SEC this year.
What do you think they'd do?
Just with their schedule.
They'd be right there with Bama, Auburn, and Tennessee.
What did we say he's going to win this?
I think 12 or 13.
Yeah, I think 13 too. I think Duke would win 12 or 13.
Yeah, 13 and 5.
13 and 5, I think would win the conference. Yeah. Or at least get you in a tie.
I think. Let's see who's left that's unbeaten. I think it's Alabama. Little T's got a graphic she keeps posting up every time you lose an unbeaten team in the SEC. So I think we're down through just 2 games. And I think the only unbeaten teams left in the SEC are Auburn, Alabama, and Texas A&M.
Is Kentucky?
Mississippi State.
Kentucky plays.
Kentucky got beat by Georgia by 30.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Hey, so if I put the over-under at 1 seeds from the SEC at 1.5,
I think Ole Miss, by the way, is
undefeated. Yeah.
In the league is what we're talking about.
What was your
1.5 of 1 seed? So that would be, you're saying either have 1/4 or half of the 1 seeds, or 3/4, or all of them.
I think the SEC will ultimately get 2 number 1 seeds.
You can see, right now trending. At one point it was Auburn, and
Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, Kentucky, Florida. Any of those could be 1 seeds.
I was getting coffee this morning for Forrester and me, and Grady, who runs the coffee shop, Scooters here locally, he was like, is it possible that the 2 best teams and the 2 best coaches in college basketball right now are here in the same state? And I said, it is possible. It's possible.
Dan Hurley's hard to overlook as best coach in college basketball.
Got beat last night by Villanova.
Okay. I don't think that's going to overshadow.
I'm talking about for this year.
Oh, for this year. Yeah. Okay, for this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alabama's got a ways to go, I believe, to be considered, in Auburn's orbit right now.
Right.
Auburn's going to be the number 1 team. Duke's there because Duke beat them. But, I think if Auburn and Duke played again neutral site or at Neville, Auburn would win that game.
Well, I said it, and I'll stick to it. I think Auburn at Georgia, Auburn's going to be favored, but Auburn is going to be underdogs at Bama, at Kentucky, and at A&M right now. I think only 3 times this entire year.
Yeah, so that's potential of 15-3.
That says a lot in this conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you win the games, obviously.
No, obviously not.
Yeah, conference is really, really good, and we get to see it all unfold again on Saturday when Auburn goes to South Carolina, which looks like in this league about as easy of a road game as you can get. And then Alabama's on the road at College Station primetime Saturday night after their win at South Carolina last night by 20, a battle of 2 top 10 teams in that contest. That will be a battle down in College Station on Saturday. Another great weekend of games. I just have to look real quick because there's going to be a national marquee showdown. Tennessee's got Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida, and Arkansas.
Where's that played? Is that in Fayetteville?
It is in Fayetteville.
That's an interesting game in Fayetteville.
Yeah. Arkansas will probably win that game.
Yeah, they're 0-2 to start things off.
A little pressure.
A little pressure on them. Tennessee should beat Texas, no problem there in Austin. I'd say the best game in the SEC on Saturday probably is Alabama, Texas A&M. That's probably why it's in prime time, Jim.
Probably so.
Those guys at ESPN seem to know what they're doing. All right, 4 downs on the other side. The show being brought to you by our friends at New Life Art. Listen, Daniel A. Moore, tremendous at capturing great sports moments throughout history. His latest is The Legend, a tribute to Coach Nick Saban and his 6 national championship seasons. Don't forget, for anything you order right there at DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com, use the promo code TNR. TNR gets you 20% off the item. DanielMooreArt.com. Surf the site. Check out all the other works from the wonderful Daniel A. Moore. It's all right there at DanielMooreArt.com.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today, in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world. we can keep you company. Check out The Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
All right, back with you in a second. Tyler's got 4 downs in just a second. We got our spotlight. We're going to jump out here, talk more about Notre Dame and Penn State tonight in the semifinal game. It is brought to you by McCurry. Tyler, if you can give me that spotlight button there, and we will get into more tonight. 6:30 on ESPN, if you're looking for it. Not on ABC, not on TBS or TNT. We're ESPN the rest of the way, I believe, and that includes tonight at 6:30, and that is our spotlight.
The College Football Spotlight.
It is presented each day by McCurry Van and Car Rental, local rental company you can depend on. Trucks, SUVs, passenger vans, easy to rent, in and out fast. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, Skyland Boulevard, Tuscaloosa. Call and reserve that rental today, 256-559-1003. That's 256-559-1003. Or visit McCurryRentals.com, McCurryRentals.com.
Just pop up that picture real quick for us, or if you can. Anybody know who that is?
Yeah.
Is that Tyler Warren?
Yeah, it is.
Tyler Warren.
I did not know that's what he looked like.
You know, he is so freaking good, but he's not Brock Bowers good.
Yeah. You know what keeps popping up on my Twitter feed occasionally?
What?
The soundbite that little T, when I say it, it's okay to be cut up and sent out.
Yeah.
When I told Dan Wetzel that I thought Brock Bowers would be the biggest bust in the first round, and Wetzel laughed at me. And
I think Saban laughed at you.
Saban laughed at me in the summer.
Well, in case people have forgotten, Tyler, cut 10, please. Can we go to cut 10, Tyler? In case people have forgotten, because Scott has a screenshot, and here's what that sounded like prior to last year's draft. Let's hit it.
Like Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers. Can't miss.
You have any doubt he's going to be at least good?
No, I've seen him fall to like 15, Dan.
What a deal.
He is the guy that I think will end up being a pretty much a bust.
Wow. You know who remembered that today?
Who?
Cold Takes Exposed. I don't know why today they chose to drag it out of the grave, but they drug it out of the grave. Old Takes Exposed.
It's 1 year. I mean, you got to do a lot. Am I watching the Raiders play this weekend?
I mean, unless he gets abducted and taken off the planet.
LT, you do not know what can happen.
All I know is
he is in Vegas.
He played for some of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL this year, and you look at what he did.
Good first
but
year.
But this kid is going to be incredible too.
Yeah. I would tell you guys for 4 years, did y'all think I was right about Bo Nix being a Heisman finalist? Anybody think that?
I did not.
Years?
Well, you talking about falling into that?
Yeah.
It went the journey for Bo Nix to become a Heisman finalist.
Anybody remember me defending Joe Burrow on this show?
I do. Lance and I called him very average.
And you fell into that one too.
Yeah. So if I get it right, I fall into it.
No, the argument with Burrow was we thought he was an average quarterback, and you were like, I think he's better than average. I think he's better than average. Nobody saw 2019 coming.
2020 Buccaneers, I think we were 7-5. I still had hope of a championship. I think you said no chance.
You got Tom Brady out of retirement, though.
Yeah. I'm just saying that
you fell into that.
Not always wrong. Yeah.
I don't know why Old Takes Exposed decided just now to play that.
Well, it pops up. Did you check the date on that one? Because it pops up frequently.
It was today, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like it was like this morning.
Yeah, it was today. I think somebody tagged them in that clip yesterday, which is what drew their attention.
That's probably not your worst. My worst was when Pat Mahomes got drafted 10th to Kansas City. I was like, I don't see this. Like he's got a big arm, but like he hadn't beaten anybody in Lubbock.
Yeah, he's a local kid, but I was sitting there on draft day saying, please don't pick Jameis Winston. Don't pick Jameis Winston with my Buccaneers.
No, you were right.
Well, it was a roller coaster ride on that one. Yeah.
Well, that wasn't my worst. I'm just saying that was another thing I got right.
I'm just saying that was a roller coaster ride.
Jim, you've been in Sark's corner this entire time, and look at him now.
Yep.
That's true.
Thank you, Melton.
There you go.
That's true.
Yeah.
Did Dunaway not say Sark will win a national championship in Texas?
I think I did. Yeah. I think I did.
Big game for him coming up this weekend.
Yeah. Can't win a national championship if you're not in a national championship game.
You got to win that one.
Yeah. Hadn't even won an SEC championship
I know.
yet. Yeah. Lost in that game, too. Anyway, in our spotlight, if I asked you quarterback advantage tonight, Riley Leonard or Drew Aller, for whatever they bring to the team, who's got the quarterback advantage tonight?
I think the more upside, it's not even close, is Drew Aller, but I think what they bring to their respective offenses would be Riley Leonard and his ability to run the football. And especially in the red zone, what Riley Leonard can do with his legs.
His legs is Notre Dame's path to victory. Right?
They are, and that's what Brandon says. Like he can have 80 pass yards, and you can still win the game because of what he brings you on the ground. And the biggest compliment I could give about Riley Leonard, that kid is one tough son of a gun. Like he is not afraid to stick his head in there and stick his nose in there, I think is the actual phrase. Not afraid to stick his nose in there. And you saw that in that basically the game clinching first down against Georgia when he gives his body up to get the first down. And I mean I think that earns the respect of your team. I think obviously his teammates respect this guy, know he's in the same battle they are in. He's not some soft quarterback that's standing in the back there that doesn't want to get a hit.
I know this sounds crazy, but Drew Aller could end up being your number one overall quarterback in 2026.
Yeah.
But when you look at Aller, he's a guy that just doesn't make mistakes. I mean, in his 3 years, year one wasn't a starting quarterback, but he's got 53 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions, and the guy is much more athletic than people give him a credit. He's got 6 rushing touchdowns this year.
I think Zach puts it best in the MyBookie.ag chat room. Riley does exactly what is asked of him.
That's right.
Like he's not out there trying to be a hero. He's not out there screwing you up either, turning it over at bad times. He's doing exactly what Marcus Freeman asked him to do.
Yep. Which is all you can do. Do what you can do.
And there's only one dominant unit tonight, and that is Al Golden's defense. So it really is going to be who is much more efficient on offense.
Here is Tyler Warren on what he has seen from Drew Aller that has made Aller the quarterback that gives him the advantage tonight against Notre Dame.
The growth of Drew, what have you seen in his time here, and how has it happened, and what does he do best these days?
Thank you, Carly.
Yeah, I think really this whole season, just kind of the way he's managed the offense. You've seen his natural ability to play football and make the big throws and stuff like that, but kind of his way to have us all on the same page and kind of be the leader of an offense, which you need out of a quarterback, I think has kind of been his biggest step into this season, and it's been awesome to see. And you kind of see his confidence. You can kind of see it a little bit more now in the field, and I think that's been really big for him and our offense in general.
Dusty Dvorak made this point on the Dusty and Danny show this morning. The seniors that are at Penn State, they heard for the last 3 years, God, if there was a 12-team playoff, Penn State would be in this thing.
Yeah.
If there was a 12-team playoff, Penn State was
basically because they can't beat Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah, did they also hear if you had an elite coach, you'd be in the playoff?
That's our McCurry spotlight today. Tell us about McCurry.
Yeah, McCurryRentals.com throughout North Alabama. All those difficult vehicles to find them at McCurry.
All right, 4 downs time now. Brought to you by our friends at Slice LT. Tyler has them for us, non-sports related today.
Yeah, hopefully weather won't be too bad this weekend, but if it is, pick up a pizza on the way home, whether it's tonight, Friday, Saturday night, get in there for lunch on Sunday. Fantastic place. 5 locations, the original Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, newest location in Edgewood. Get in and see the Bajalia Brothers, local pizza, local ingredients. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
The movie Goldfinger turned 61 today. What's your favorite James Bond movie, and who's your favorite James Bond actor?
I'm in the process of watching them all.
Yeah, you're up to what?
2. 2. I've watched the first 2.
Yep.
Solid progress.
Goldfinger is one of the best. Sean Connery was probably my favorite. Now, my Bond era was more Roger Moore, but I personally think Daniel Craig is the best Bond. Casino Royale is my favorite Bond film.
I probably should have started with the more recent ones and worked my way back, right? It would have been more entertaining.
I mean, the quality is obviously night and day.
Have you seen them all?
I have not. I've seen Goldfinger, Dr. No, GoldenEye.
I've probably seen 25 of them.
Have you seen No Time to Die? Is that the one where the opening scene, they're in a snowy mountain and
but that's
the little private plane?
That's probably the worst.
Yeah.
Well, Pierce Brosnan wasn't the worst.
No, I think Pierce Brosnan is my favorite.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I saw him in one of his first movies ever. It was called The Killing of a Chinese Bookie with Ben Gazzara.
What a title.
No, excuse me, it wasn't. It was another one I saw. It was The Long Good Friday with Bob Hoskins.
Brown, I think you're thinking of Die Another Day, by the way.
Die Another Day, that is correct.
Yeah, but who was the Timothy Dalton was the terrible one.
He wasn't terrible. It was just darker. It was just a darker take on Bond. But Daniel Craig, Casino Royale, you're exactly right, Lance. That is the answer.
It's such one of the worst torture scenes. Can you imagine getting a knot on a rope just hitting your junk nonstop?
That'd be tough, man.
Wow.
That'd be tough. You don't want that.
You don't want to watch that one in 3D, for sure.
Yeah. 3D.
And by the way,
Second down.
I'm not going to let Maggie see James Bond movies.
You cannot watch them, man.
Give her any ideas.
Dave Matthews turns 58 today. Who had the better career, Dave Matthews or Matthew McConaughey?
Oh, it's got to be McConaughey.
Yeah.
I mean, for where McConaughey came from as kind of that stoner, Watterson, Richard Linklater, cast him in that role, and Dazed and Confused too. I mean, was completely dominant in one year. Dallas Buyers Club wins the Oscar, wins Best Actor Golden Globe for his performance in True Detective. I mean, he has become what is viewed, he's still a weird dude, but he's viewed as an A-list, very accomplished actor.
Was it Dallas Buyers Club? Was that the role that turned it for him, you think?
Yeah, I do.
Because even A Time to Kill was a serious role.
Amistad, he was
I forgot about Amistad.
He was improperly cast back then. I think those roles were too big for him.
Yeah. I saw Amistad in the theater.
I did too.
A lot of male body parts on the big screen.
Boy,
a lot of them.
You're talking about some of the most disturbing scenes ever.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to see a lot of male genitalia, Amistad is not your movie.
Another movie not to see in 3D.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Lose an eye.
Yeah, look, Dave Matthews has been an incredible career, but that's also more the collection of the band.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt McConaughey to have the versatility and have the longevity.
They just went into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so I saw their Genesis story. They always put those films together. Pretty amazing. They were in, I think it was in Virginia or somewhere, where they were just at a jazz club, and he was playing solos at bars and decided to put a band together and just use the local guys who were in that bar, that jazz bar, and put them together as a band. A lot of them stayed together all these years. Very, very popular. I like their music, especially in the 90s. I don't go back to it a lot, but it's Matthew McConaughey.
You hear this about numerous artists, but I always hear Dave Matthews played the bars in Auburn a lot before he got popular. That was a very...
I saw him in Tuscaloosa back before they were big.
Very popular stop for him was the Auburn bar scene. Oh, did Forrester see him down there? No.
Scott, did you ever see Dave Matthews in Auburn?
Not in Auburn. I saw him a couple of times in Birmingham.
No, but I've heard that before. Like, he used to hit Auburn a lot before he really got big. I don't know if it's true or not.
For sure. Have you ever seen him with your 3340 photographer friend back in the day, Patrick Devers?
Ever seen him with Patrick Devers?
Why are we having to translate for Scott? He doesn't have his headphones in.
No, I'm having some speaker problems back here, so I can only hear the show through Tyler's speaker, which is turned down right now.
Oh, sorry about that.
If Jim will just act it out, if he'll just pantomime it, Scott will know what's going on.
Everything was translated for Scott like he was my great grandfather. Scott, they want to know if you ever saw Dave Matthews.
Did you ever see Dave Matthews with Patrick Devers?
Why is that Patrick Devers?
That's quite the visual for Devers.
Yeah, it really was. I don't think he's going to like that.
No, I did not see them with Devers in any of his probably 70 times of seeing them.
I think he's seen him more than anybody I know. He has seen him a ton.
70 might be shorting him.
Yeah, Scott's right. It may be more than 70.
Julia Roberts, I think, said she had seen them into the 50s.
Like I had a buddy that post college went off the grid and was a deadhead for like 6 months. And he told me the number of dead shows he saw in that time, and I don't know that it reached 70. And that guy was a deadhead. He was
How
going
many did he remember, though?
Yeah, that's the big thing.
There was this hot girl back in the day from Montevallo, and she went to travel either the Dead or Fish. What was the other one that used to come by here?
Widespread?
Widespread. One of those. It was one of those three. And when she came back, not the same girl. Not the same girl.
Oh, really? She might have fried the brain a little bit?
Not the same girl.
Bad mushroom?
She was waiting tables at this place that is now out of
you get
business.
tossed around backstage, you're never going to be the same.
Like she came back originally with what's the hair that is you sort of knotted up and you don't really wash it. And
dreadlocks?
Dreadlocks, yeah. She came back with that and a little smell to her.
Yeah.
A dead fish?
Yeah, which isn't fantastic. Fantastic when you're ordering dinner from her.
Third down.
J.K. Simmons turns 70 years old today. What's your favorite J.K. Simmons role or movie with him in it?
It's not even close. It's Whiplash. He was absolutely incredible. Now, if you're an Oz fan, if you go back to the old HBO days, he played a neo-Nazi in prison, and boy, he was a rough character. But have you guys seen Whiplash?
I have not seen all of Whiplash. It's one of those that for some reason was popping up on my TikTok algorithm.
You need to watch it. Intense.
Miles, and it's the scene where Miles Teller is trying to play the drums, and he is all over him. Nope. That was not. Let's do it again. Nope, you're 18th of a beat off. I mean, he is.
I can't think of like a coach or a teacher that is as intense or
him,
over the top.
Hit him and stuff.
Well, he lets him kind of abuse himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Throws a chair at him too.
Yeah.
That's
a great movie though.
When you said
fantastic.
When you said these questions, I was looking at his IMDb. He's an actor I respect, but then I realized I haven't seen him in a ton of things either. Like I haven't watched a ton of his movies as I look back.
I just watched Juror number two.
Yeah, is that good?
Yeah, he was in that.
Did you see Saturday Night, Lance?
I did not.
Okay, he kind of steals some scenes in Saturday Night as well.
Who does he play in Saturday Night?
Milton Berle.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's incredible.
What I was going to say is this is not like some dynamic movie, but the role of all the movies I'd seen that I liked him the best is he played. I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy that played Fred Mertz. It's the one where Nicole Kidman is Lucille Ball, Javier Bardem is Ricky Ricardo.
Yeah, it's called Being the Ricardos.
Yeah, that's really good.
No,
he
was really good in that.
That was my favorite J.K. Simmons role. He played Fred Mertz, but I can't remember the actor's name.
Ralph Krantz?
No. Starts with an M, but I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know we could pre-look things up, so I'll start doing that now that you've done that.
He's probably made his most money in the farmers' insurance commercials.
Yeah, he's good at that, actually.
Thank You for Smoking was a great movie, too. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that.
Apparently he was in Juno.
Yep, he was the dad in Juno.
Yeah.
And my favorite role he was J. Jonah Jameson, the editor of the Daily Bugle in Spider-Man. Because I think that is a perfectly cast role.
Had a mustache, too, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, Juno, his daughter got a sex change, right?
No, that...
Spoiler alert.
Well, I guess in real life or in the movie?
Well, I mean, Ellen Page went to Elliot Page.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Fourth down.
Jimmy Page turns 81 today. Who's the better guitarist, Jimmy Page or Eric Clapton?
Oh, boy, that's tough. Again, you guys have got to see the movie Mr. Jimmy. It's a documentary about this dude in Japan that just wants to be Jimmy Page and plays all his music and tours around.
I would go Jimmy Page, but I'm not really good at classic rock.
Do you know what band Jimmy Page was the guitarist for?
Led Zeppelin.
Even Dunaway can get that one.
I probably would lean Eric Clapton as much as I love Led Zeppelin. But boy, it's close.
Yeah, I think I would go Jimmy Page in this one. That's probably, if you ask me the music I like better, Led Zeppelin over anything Clapton did. Not that I dislike Clapton. He's obviously very, very good, but Led Zeppelin would be my choice there, so I'd go Jimmy Page.
His best guitar licks were when he was with, is it Cream? Is that who Clapton
Cream,
was with?
Derek and the Dominoes.
Yeah. But, he's in the 80s sort of slowed it down a little bit.
Layla was a pretty iconic song.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, Tears in Heaven, he's got a little decent guitar. That's a sad song.
Tough to listen to that one, especially when you know the story behind it.
He wrote it, right?
He wrote it about his son.
His son fell out of, 50, 60 floors.
Oof,
out of a window. That is Four Downs today, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, pick up a pizza on the way home. Get a slice and a salad today from the Hot Mama, the Soul Pie, the Wing and a Prayer. You're going to absolutely love it. Local pizza, local ingredients. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
I don't know why it popped up in one of my newsletters today, but yesterday you looked at me like I had a third eye when I said, so you've got Stafford ahead of Jared Goff? And so CBS Sports, Cody Benjamin ranking the quarterbacks that are in the playoffs. He ranks number 1 Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jared Goff, Matt Stafford in that order. So there's 2 of us that are wrong.
No, I mean, I had Goff number 2.
Yeah, behind Stafford.
But again, Goff's got, much more talent on the offense. And, Goff has played great the last couple of years, but, he's not Stafford.
I mean, it
caliber.
is a bit hard, though, when an NFL franchise had the choice of Stafford or Goff, and they took Stafford.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rams literally did that, and Stafford has been nothing but fantastic.
And
for
really
the Rams.
one of the best offensive coaches over the last quarter of a century. He thought that was the limitation. Stafford got him to a Super Bowl in 2018, Goff did, and he just thought that Goff had kind of hit his ceiling.
And there were a lot of people that thought Goff, it's a heck of a story, really, because they thought he was going just to finish out his career in Detroit and draw some paychecks and be done.
One of the few win-win trades.
Yeah.
Look at both organizations.
I know, you don't see very many of them.
Yeah, worked out really good. All right, Dan Orlovsky on the other side. As we make our way to the top of the hour, we told you on the show yesterday that Jeremy Bernard had decided to come back to Alabama, another starter returning. Pritchett ends up at Nebraska. So he's going to play tackle for Matt Rule and the Nebraska Cornhuskers next year. And Tyler Van Dyke's going to get another shot. He's going to be the quarterback at SMU.
Good system.
Yeah, really good system.
Yeah, we'll see what TVD can do. There was a minute where there were rumors he was going to be Alabama's quarterback.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of Christian Hackenberg. Really good first year.
Yeah.
Big physical, prototypical quarterback, could sling it all over the place, and then it just...
It worked so poorly at Miami, they had to go get Cam Ward out of the portal, and that worked out.
The regression for Tyler Van Dyke has been pretty amazing.
Urology Centers of Alabama brings you part of the show today. 35 urologists, 16 locations, treating all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones, vasectomies, and really everything. And listen, none of this is great stuff to talk about or have to endure, but man, to stay healthy from your 20s to 30s, 30s to 40s, 40s to 50s to 60s, you need to have a baseline and continue to be preventive, and that's what you can get with our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. 205-930-0920 to make an appointment, or just find one of the 16 locations that's near you. 205-930-0920 for all your urological needs. Look it up online. Get more details at urologycentersalabama.com.
Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. Where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
calendar.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At The Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out TheBarnAuburn.com and CoverCrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1, find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2, stream it now. Miss Hour 3, download it for later. Miss Hour 4, well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
We were talking Alabama, the players coming back. On that defense, you're starting to build about 7 starters, maybe more than that, that's coming back on that side of the ball. Zabion's back, Jackson and Saab, and Lawson and Jefferson at the linebacker position, and Keenan and Overton on the defensive line. There may be more that's coming back that I don't have a sheet in front of me just off the top of my head.
Well, you've named some pretty good ones.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
7 of 11 right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, we've talked a lot about it, and if you missed Roman Harper yesterday, go get it on demand wherever you get our show on demand. All our videos right there at YouTube live forever, and you can also get it wherever you get your audio podcast. And as we always ask you to do, please, anywhere you are, subscribe, set your alerts, download them. That always helps us. We appreciate that. Give them a thumbs up. But, there's always going to be talk about that system. There are people that just are not going to be fans of that system. But as Harp said, if you can look past the system, you saw improvements, right? Like if you just say, okay, I may not like the system, but the system is what it is. So for that system, you saw great improvement, I thought, in that defense from Western Kentucky to the end of the year. Really, the defense, like early on, was South Florida, there were some issues, right? Western Kentucky looked fine, and you're like, well, that's Western Kentucky. South Florida, there were some issues there. They struggled with Byron Brown, the running quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, outside of – so it was a weird little stretch. I mean, Vanderbilt, obviously, defense didn't look good. And defense was great in the first half against Tennessee, but they gave some leaks in the second half. And then the defense was great until about 2 minutes to go in the first half against South Carolina. And then it got a little leaky. But then after that, after the South Carolina – or the Tennessee game, I should say, defense was lights out.
And – you know, against Game 3 against Wisconsin, they knocked the starting quarterback out in the first possession. And, you know, then you're like, well, I don't even know how I judge them because it's a backup quarterback. And that first half against Georgia, you're like, I remember thinking, if this is the way Alabama's defense is going to play, I don't know who's beating them this year.
That's right. And their offense at the time.
Yeah, their offense at the time. And then they struggled to ever get back to that level.
We mentioned Bernard coming back. Ryan Williams is back. Proctor and Brailsford on the offensive line. Jim Miller, the tight ends are back. But obviously, quarterback and figuring out some of those holes on that offensive line will be a really big deal for Alabama as they continue to reconstruct their roster a little bit. Alabama basketball, a winner last night, 88-68 over South Carolina. They get Texas A&M next. Auburn, Johni Broome, the favorite to win the Wooden. The Player of the Year, National Player of the Year, 1-3 odds, big odds that Broome's going to win that award. Auburn is at South Carolina coming up on Saturday. We'll have a reaction after those games on our video platform, like we did the last couple of nights as well. A new episode of the basketball show will drop tomorrow morning for your drive to the weekend or staying at home with the ice storm. Taylor Corn and I tomorrow morning. All right, this hour brought to you by Champy's world-famous fried chicken, Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. What are you in the mood for? How about some cold outside, 18 degrees this morning when you woke up? Now it's battling to get over freezing. How about a good piping hot piece of southern fried chicken, brined overnight, cooked to order, always comes out fresh. That's what you get with Sterling and the crew at Champy's Chicken. All the great sides, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and so much more. It's Champy's Chicken. And with the weather, our friends at Hemphill making sure that the heat is running right to keep your family safe this weekend.
Yeah, 205-229-2090. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. They are ready to serve you, whether you have any plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
What's your official prediction on the weather? I don't want you to landmine this thing.
By the way, we are doing a show tomorrow in some form or fashion. The attempt is going to be on all platforms. Just we will be remote, and Tyler may be the guy that has to walk through ice and snow up here and run everything up here. So, Tyler, thank you for your service.
God bless you.
Well, I mean, here's what I would recommend, Tyler. It's not going to start dropping till like 4 or 5 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, I heard between 3 and 4 a.m.
So I would try to get you a good night's sleep, hotel up the street, and then drive over, park somewhere down the hill, and then just walk up.
Yeah,
I would recommend a lot of alcohol in the hotel that we get you. Whoever you can get to come
Are you
party.
a bourbon or vodka or tequila fan?
We've got it next door.
Usually more vodka.
Okay, well, I can pack you a bottle of vodka and get you some cold beer.
I'd just pull an all-nighter just in case you slip and fall on the ice walking up here. It won't hurt as bad. Then come up here, punch some of the right buttons, not all the right buttons.
I've never seen Tyler drink a cocktail.
I have.
I had a couple drinks when we went to Freddie's wine bar.
Freddie's Wine Bar. I remember seeing that. I was
God,
like,
that was forever.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, not to judge book by cover, you look like you would hit a bong really hard.
Not to judge a book by cover.
Is it the Supreme gear? Is that why you go that way?
No, I mean, it's just looks like he likes to smoke. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
No comment.
Tyler with no comment.
Yeah. You know, you do have the right to remain silent.
I learned that a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boy, there was a time when you talking about criminalized was weed. You remember when somebody would like admit that they had smoked weed like in their high school days and they were like alienated forever.
I remember being in high school, the thing was when somebody smoked weed, they'd walk up and hold their fingers. I smell my fingers.
I don't remember
they
that.
Do that. Smell the fingers, smell the weed. Well, I mean, I wasn't like itching to smell anybody's fingers, but I remember that.
That was always a dangerous proposition in middle school.
It really was, especially where I went to high school. So yeah, that is the plan tomorrow. But as soon as they said no school tomorrow, I told my wife, I was like, that does it for the snow. We're way too prepared now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I was coming down the mountain to work today. They've already treated the street.
Yeah.
Treated the road coming down the mountain.
Dan Orlovsky is going to join us here. I bet if we told him what we do in the South when we're expecting less than an inch of snow, it would freak him out.
No, Dan, they've already canceled school tomorrow. They did it yesterday afternoon. No school in the Birmingham area, and they don't even know if we're getting snow. They're like, there might be an inch or two, but no school. Can you believe that?
No, I can't. I mean, we've actually done that a little bit up in the north where, I mean, when I grew up, it was like 8 inches of snow. They're like, yeah, figure out a way, like get to school. And now it's, 4 inches, maybe we have to cancel school. And I'm like, stop it. Then my second thing is I did not know there were mountains in the Birmingham area. Am I so stupid for not knowing this?
Yeah, we are the start of the Appalachian Mountains. It starts right here in Birmingham. Red Mountain provided most of the U.S. with its iron ore in the early parts of its existence. How Birmingham came around. It's Pittsburgh of the South.
That's right. They call it the Pittsburgh of the South. It's amazing how people think Birmingham is basically farmland, and it's very mountainous. You've got to get you down here. Yeah.
I did not know that. That's interesting. I had no clue. So now I got to make my way down there. I also know that there's incredible golf down there at some point, right? Where they have the RTJ or something?
Yeah, incredible golf. Birmingham is an amazing food town. Now, you're picky on what you eat, but we could feed you for days down here.
Yeah, we've got Chipotle, so you'll be okay.
I love Chipotle.
No, but we have several beer award winners here in Birmingham, local restaurants.
That's right. What's your nickname?
That's awesome.
What do y'all call John Parker Wilson? Meat? Isn't that what y'all call him?
Yeah, meat.
Meat?
Yeah, JP Dub.
JP Dubs.
Hey, great guy. So you growing up in Connecticut, obviously playing for the Huskies, anytime we would have snow, it was like every 4 or 5 years, everybody wanted to go play backyard football game in snow. I would assume you played some of these in high school. Did you like snow games?
Yeah, I mean, they're fun, until you have to go execute in them, especially in meaningful games. So,
and especially being a quarterback.
Yeah. As a quarterback, you're like, all right, this isn't as awesome. But no, when you get them, they're super fun to be a part of. And it certainly brings the reminder of the joy and the childhood kind of joy of football.
Let me ask you, as we get to the wild card weekend with Dan Orlovsky here on the show, if I said one wild card team that could make it to the Super Bowl, not necessarily win it, but just get to the big game, who's your pick as a wild card team maybe to make the Super Bowl?
So wild card, meaning not team playing in wild card weekend.
No,
so non-division winners.
That's right. Take the Rams out, take the Bucks out because they won divisions. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my gut probably, I'll pick one from each. My gut is in the AFC, the Chargers. The Chargers, I know that they're not sexy and crazy explosive in offense, but they really don't have negative plays. They're very efficient on offense. Herbert's playing big time ball. Quentin Johnston's catching it better. I think they win in Houston, and then it's really, you never know. So, and their defense is sensational. And then I would probably say the Vikings in the NFC, tough game on the road, but obviously it's the playoffs. But we've seen them at their very best, and when they show up and play their best, I think they're capable of beating anyone. Those would be my pick in each conference.
Dan Orlovsky with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Matchups make games, and for some reason, this Steelers matchup has been difficult for the Ravens. Now, the Steelers' offense is anemic. They've lost 4 straight, so it wouldn't seem like it would be this time. Why has that been difficult for the Ravens? What do the Steelers do the Ravens don't like? And can they do it again this time?
Yeah, I think number one, after having called a couple of games of each team, Mike Tomlin is very clear with, Baltimore likes to be the bully and the Steelers like to play the bully. So there's a comfort level that they have in that game. They don't feel intimidated about it. They don't get overwhelmed by it. They are very smart with how they play Lamar because they see him twice a year and how they rush Lamar and how they try to handle Lamar. And then also I do think there is a reality that in the past, Lamar has allowed that to get to him and in his head. And he tries to go and be and or play to a certain person or style that's unnecessary, and it gets him out of his game. And so I think that's the biggest challenge is Lamar's just got to stay in the moment of dude, just go play like it's anybody else. And that's best suited for him in the Ravens offense.
Of the 14 quarterbacks, 3 have won championships, and Pat Mahomes, obviously, Matt Stafford, and Russell Wilson. I asked this question the other day. Would you take the field, the other 11, so a first-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, or one of those three will win another one?
Yeah, I think the one of the three. I mean, Patrick, that's the team that I would pick to get back and win it. I just think that they are who they are, and you're going to have to go in there and you're going to have to catch them on a little bit of a down game and capitalize on it. We've seen them not play their best and win in those games. And so are they vulnerable? Yes. I think they're a better football team, Kansas City, and less flawed than they were last year. But yeah, I think if you had to ask me, the team that if I had to take money and bet who do I think could do it or who do I think is the likeliest to do it, I would probably choose Baltimore to go in there and do it.
Well, we covered Bo Nix from high school to Auburn, and then, of course, he went to Oregon. Just Bo Nix has helped this Denver team into the playoffs. Can you just put a thumbnail on what this season has meant for the Broncos fans and what Bo Nix has brought to the table?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible kind of what they've accomplished with Bo Nix. If you had gone back to, when they move on from Russell Wilson and kind of eat all that salary, you're saying, oh my gosh, dude, this team's going to start Zach Wilson or at quarterback or Jarrett Stidham, I think at the time. And then all of a sudden, they draft Bo Nix and then still everybody's were like, Bo Nix, he's the sixth quarterback taken. This guy stunk at Auburn. And Oregon, he was a check down merchant. And if you had watched, you'd be like, no, he's gotten a lot better at football. And then the season starts, you're like, oof, he's struggling. And he just has grown and developed throughout the season. And it's a credit to, we have these conversations all the time about what's the best thing for a young quarterback or a rookie quarterback. And I think this is another example. One, give him a defense. Because then there's not that pressure of, I got to go score a ton of points. So give them a defense. Denver's got a great one. And then the play caller is huge. And they've got a Hall of Fame play caller in Sean Payton. And you've watched his development, and he's playing really good football right now.
And he's got to go to Buffalo. And look, man, the Bills, this has been a snake-bitten franchise. Even when they made the Super Bowl, they haven't been able to cash in. And it feels like, if not now, with the way this team is playing, when are you going to be able to do it? I know they would still have to go through Kansas City potentially. But if not now, when? I mean, if I'm a Bills fan, that's almost the way I feel right now.
Yeah, I think there's two teams in these playoffs that if you fast forwarded time to the end of their championship games, and you told me these two teams got 5 takeaways in their 2 or 3 respective games, I'd tell you they're going to the Super Bowl. Buffalo and Detroit are those teams. That's the thing that I have a little bit of hesitation with Buffalo is their defense is okay. It becomes good to really good because they take the ball away. Got the 3rd most takeaways in the NFL. And so you're sitting there. I think their offense will be okay. I do believe that it's a big challenge against Denver. But in playoff football, if the ball doesn't bounce your way or whatnot, do you still find a way to win? The same with Detroit. So I don't know if not now one in Buffalo, because I do think that even they thought this year was a little bit of a retooling this year, obviously off of the Stephon Diggs trade. But it feels like another season of like, hey man, at some point we only get so many windows in this iteration.
So it looks like Monday night's game might be played in Glendale because obviously LA's burning to the ground. Really sad situation out there. You said if you were going to take a wild card team in the NFC, it would be the Vikings. We've seen this matchup earlier this year at SoFi. The Rams won by double digits. The Rams' offense has been so inconsistent. Their defense is starting to play better football under Chris Shula. But when you look at this game with the Vikings being a 1.5-point favorite on the road, what is the biggest key? Is it Sam Darnold and maybe a bad hangover from the performance in Detroit? Is it more Matt Stafford just lighting that fire and playing like Matt Stafford can?
Yeah, I think so on each side, number one, I don't really have a ton of hesitation about Sam. I think he'll bounce back. For me, that Minnesota Viking offensive line got destroyed against that Lions front. And so the Rams, that front is violent and young and aggressive and very physical. And so can that Minnesota offensive line bounce back and really kind of play to the level that they have for most of the season versus a very good defensive line? And then vice versa, when the Rams have the ball, versus a defense that's really good, I'm going to be interested to see how much Sean McVay gets in and out of tempo and how much they try to not get into third down, because you don't want to versus this front and this blitz package. That's kind of what like Ben Johnson always does for the Lions against Minnesota. And I'll see if they can kind of copy that. The pass game for LA has not been sharp over the last 3 weeks. That does give me hesitation. That's kind of why I favor Minnesota in the game.
Our audience loves it when you give some college football opinion from your Saturday studio work. Did you see what we've seen in the playoffs from Will Howard coming during the season when you watch the Buckeyes? Because he's taken it to a different level.
No, I did not. I really thought he was a quote-unquote guy. And in the playoffs, what's really happened is the offensive line has been absolutely sensational. He hasn't been sacked in the playoff while they've gotten 12 as a defense for Ohio State. I think the second thing is, today you got to tip your hat to him. He hasn't overcomplicated it. We're going to throw the ball to the best player in the country, Jeremiah Smith. And so I think just the simplification of some stuff, both schematically and philosophy, has allowed him to play a little bit better. And he's gotten the ball to Jeremiah. I mean, Jeremiah is absolutely sensational. So you definitely tip your hat to them both with hey, how are we thinking about this? And then Will Howard's played a lot better than he did in most of their games this year.
As we were talking to Dan, our governor has declared a state of emergency for tomorrow. So you can continue to make fun of us. I know, Dan.
Is this not a big deal, though?
Well, they
like,
do.
Are we making fun of it because we're –
Yeah, we're making fun of it because we're talking to somebody who lives up on the East Coast and would laugh at us for
Yeah,
that.
I mean, there is a chance, Dan, that we have no snowfall at all.
Yeah. Or we could have 3 feet. You just never know here.
Our problem, Dan, is we don't
So why the state of emergency? What's the declaration to state of emergency?
So they don't have to make it's actually quite smart. So they don't have to make up the school day. If they do a state of emergency, there's like some sort of thing where they don't have to make the day up later on in the year.
That.
Yeah.
I like that. Missing school is my favorite thing.
That's right. Yeah.
I would tell you, though, we don't get true snowfall like you guys in the north. It ends up being an ice problem with the hills. And I don't want you to go Wikipedia Alabama's map and you say, these aren't mountains, they're hills. What we call mountains would be hills for those of you in Colorado, obviously. But we get any ice at all. I don't care what kind of truck you got, man. You're gonna
sure.
Yeah, it's not a Zamboni. You're going to slide into something.
I mean, I think our highest peak Cheehaw is, 3,900 feet?
Yeah.
So, 3,900 feet, that's a mountain, right?
Yeah.
I would climb it and claim it as a mountain for sure.
I would climb it and claim it.
Yeah.
Hey, trivia for you. Who was the only team that was an underdog in all 17 games this year?
New England Patriots.
Boom. Good job.
You can't slip anything past this goalie.
How the mighty have fallen. Yeah, I saw it. I saw Shannon Sharp try to sneak one past him, and Dan didn't let that one go.
That is strong. How good is that Patriots job going to be with Drake May?
I think it's the best job available. I mean, Drake's play kind of warranted a way better record than what they obviously ended up with. They were a very bad roster. Obviously, they have to rebuild the roster, and so you got to draft well, no question. But the number 4 pick, you got $100+ million. You got a quarterback that you feel really good. I think both jobs that have the young quarterbacks are really good jobs. I really both believe New England and Chicago. I lean New England because of Drake.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun playoffs. Dan, always great with his time. Thank you, Dan. Enjoy the games. We'll see you next time.
Enjoy, guys. Be safe.
All right, buddy. Take care. Dan Orlovsky with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. I am told in the chat room I overstated the elevation of Mount Cheehaw. In fact, I only missed by 1,500 feet. It's 2,400 feet.
Yeah,
it's a tall mountain.
It is. And I grew up closer to Cheehaw than any of you guys. I used to go to Bald Rock frequently, so that's on. Of all people, I shouldn't be making a mistake. Calhoun County Brown. Though I think it's actually in Talladega County.
We do have hills around here that make it, if it's got ice on it, it doesn't take it to be a steep hill. Like just here at our place of work, Tyler will have to navigate a slight hill tomorrow.
We do joke about this. And Tyler, I don't know where you were when this went down, but it was in February or March of 2014.
Yeah.
Where we were looking out the window in the old Jock studio and we were like, we're getting some snow, but we never thought it was going to be a big deal. And the next thing you know, we're walking down the hill.
I know.
and we're having to find a place to stay.
And Dunaway's having to get Homewood police and some sort of souped-up ATV to take him to 42.
Oh, I walked it the whole way.
You walked all the way to 42?
Yep.
I thought the police came and got you.
Nope. They drove by and said, do I need help? And I was like, no, I think I can make it.
I think James
Standard Dunaway.
James Spann will probably be that one news person that people will still reference for the next 50-plus years. But I mentioned this to Brown the other day. Like, kids all over this area need to thank him because his dusting back in 2014, it's the reason you get out when you see days before that we might have inclement weather.
For those that didn't live in the area then or watching us elsewhere, it caught everybody off guard. They couldn't get a lot of places, the school buses, the kids loaded up to get them home, so some people had to spend the night at school.
There was a flash freeze, and it's like impossible to, like, there's no way James could have predicted that or any of the other weather people could have predicted it. It's like some sort of meteorological anomaly that happened. And it just so happened to happen in Birmingham, Alabama at the worst possible time.
Yep.
And a lot of people slept on the interstates and in waiting rooms and other
Hotel
people's
lobbies.
houses, hotel lobbies, at schools. It was crazy, man.
It was. Let's hope that doesn't happen again tomorrow.
I would agree.
Let's wake up and be sunny and 40 tomorrow.
I'm telling you, when we prepare this much, that's normally what happens.
Yeah.
I'm calling bust. I'm calling nothing tomorrow.
But some way we'll have a show tomorrow. Some way.
Oh, it's going to be normal.
Even if it's just a video platform show, we'll have it for you tomorrow. But if you do on audio, listen to us. Tyler's going to try to make it in here and get us on all platforms. So we'll see how it all happens. Show today being brought to you by our friends at New York Butcher Shop. Tell us about New York Butcher LT.
Hey, go load up. Great place to be plenty stocked up with great meats from our friend Jim at the New York Butcher Shop. Get ready for whatever weather is coming this way. You can also pick up some of those incredible deli sandwiches. 2 locations, the original Cahaba Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. Great selection of fine desserts and wines as well. Rare quality, well-done service. It's the New York Butcher Shop.
Tyler Horka at TB Horka on social media covers Notre Dame for On3 Sports. Reports from Miami that the Notre Dame locker room is battling a flu outbreak ahead of tonight's Orange Bowl against Penn State. Now, the quote in the story is, those who have it really bad, but it sounds like it is mostly backups and special teams players. That's alarming. Obviously, you can quarantine the guys once they show symptoms, but if it's spreading through the team,
usually too late by then.
Yeah,
it is crazy. Whatever this thing is that's going around. Because I talked to one of our friends this morning that had it like 3 weeks ago, and he's got it again.
Wow.
Like, I don't want that shit that I had Christmas again. It was awful.
You were awful.
It was awful.
So I'll ask you guys the same question I asked Orlovsky. We'll do more college football and trash in the next segment. A wild card team that can make it to the Super Bowl, in your opinion? You don't have to do 2 like he did.
Well, I mean, Chargers would be an easy answer if Justin Herbert had ever done anything in the postseason. I like the makeup of this Chargers team. I like Jim Harbaugh coaching in this situation, Lance, but I don't know that I trust Herbert to win these meaningful games.
I mean, there is zero chance the Broncos or Steelers can make a Super Bowl run.
I wouldn't think so.
So you would have to go with the Chargers because Herbert is 0-1 in the postseason, but he's still a quarterback that is very capable, and you look at the way the Chargers defense plays. So I probably would go that direction. The other side, I probably would go the Vikings because if the Vikings win, they're going to get a rematch with Detroit. That game was 10-9 late into the third quarter. They've already beaten them once earlier this year.
Already, that'll be the rematch?
Well, depending on how the seeding. Like if the Bucs and the Eagles win, your lowest seed is going to be the Vikings that would win, so they would play the 1. Now, if the Commanders or the Packers win, then obviously that team would play
Definitely
Detroit.
in play.
So with the Rams situation Monday night, if that game is in Glendale, what do you anticipate the crowd being like? I mean, would you think
there's more Rams fans?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. But are you talking about just the capacity?
Do you think they fill that stadium up? I mean,
70,000, I think, roughly is that stadium. No, probably not.
Like if I lived in that area and had a chance to go see an NFL playoff game, I'd jump at the chance.
You say that, but if you were living in that area with a NFL franchise already, you see
good point. I see a lot of NFL games.
And one of them you hate. Being the Rams
right.
rival.
That was going to be my question is, do you have a lot of Cardinals fans just come cheer against the Rams?
Maybe.
I mean, it could. I don't think it's going to end up like a road environment.
Again, there's much more important things. I just saw a post where first responders and firefighters are actually using women's purses to dump water on fires right now.
Heavens.
And the point people are making is we are the wealthiest country in the world, or one of the wealthiest countries. It's the second largest city, and how something like this can sneak up on you.
But I think if you're the NFL, too, and the Santa Ana Winds, I think, have played a role in this, right?
Sure.
They always do, yeah. I think at some point, if you're the NFL, even if you could actually pull the game off, the image of doing it
would be terrible.
Is such that you can't let this happen in LA.
And that's something to keep an eye on the rest of the day of them moving that game on Monday night from LA to Arizona, which will end up being a neutral site for the Vikings and Rams NFL playoffs. 2 games on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and 1 on Monday night on this wild card weekend. Dan Orlovsky, if you missed him, wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple and Spotify. Remember to like and subscribe and make a comment for us there. That helps us out so much. Meltdown later today at 2. They also will have a show tomorrow, regardless of the weather. So just set your appointment, 2 o'clock always on the Meltdown. Like and subscribe to when you get that content available as well. This hour brought to you by Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, champyschicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. The great fried chicken, the hand-cut chicken fingers. Kids love them. Adults love them. They're just so easy and so tasty to eat. But if you're looking for something different, how about a po' boy? They got chicken on a stick. It's unbelievable, which works out really good for you if you like that grilled vegetable and chicken taste there. It's all right there. And underrated wings. I mean, we just don't talk enough about the wings, but perfect for watching football tonight, tomorrow night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night. Sterling will be open. champyschicken.com. We're back in a moment.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access Jim anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Back with you on the Next Round. Trash coming up in just a second. Cut one, Tyler, for you Alabama fans who watched the Tide win last night, 88-68. Nate Oates, after the game, impressed with what his team was able to do in Columbia in the first road game in the SEC. They had struggled at times. Before they beat North Carolina, they struggled at North Dakota, right? And they lost at Purdue. So just being away at somebody else's true home court was something Nate Oates wanted to check off the box, getting off to a hot start.
Good first road game for us in the SEC. I thought our guys answered the bell pretty well. We came out of the gate good early. Mark was really good early. I think he scored or assisted on 17 of our first 25, so he looked like player of the year candidate to start the game. And, you know, I thought they did a pretty good job taking him out of it a lot, especially early in the second half. You know, I thought our defense was significantly better for the whole 40 than it had been. I didn't like the start of the second half. We've been having bad starts, especially when we have leads. So we made a little bit of a change. I thought the intensity picked up, and we were able to kind of keep the lead. I'm not sure how close they got there in the second half, but I thought we did a pretty good job keeping them at bay for the most part.
Ole Miss beating Arkansas on the road, Texas A&M beating Oklahoma on the road in the SEC last night. All right, so tampering is a thing in college football. A lot of coaches threaten on naming names. Nobody really ever names names until yesterday when Boise State's offensive coordinator, Dirk Cutter, called out Oregon and said, we're in the playoffs. And right after the game, Kay Casey, their big tackle, he gave a dollar figure, $700,000 offer to go to Oregon. And he says our budget for NIL is $2 million. Their budget, I'm told, is $23 million.
Yeah, Dirk Cutter is saying this is why he wants to retire and get out of football is because of the transfer portal and NIL. I would say where this hurts Oregon the most, like there's no penalty for this. And if I'm Dan Lanning, I don't really care that people know that I'm going after players. Where it hurts you the most, though, is when the dollar figure gets out, your ability to negotiate with other players. That's where this hurts Oregon the most. Like if Cutter wants to take a shot at Oregon, he really ought to jack the number up and be like, if they're paying that kind of money for a tackle, boy, if you're a quarterback or running back or receiver, man, you ought to get a boatload.
I really, when you start to look at some of these programs like Texas in the SEC or Texas A&M, like nobody's going to be able to compete with them, really. I mean, if you do have no guardrails and you can spend as much as you want, and programs back to what I mentioned with Mekhi Hughes leaving Tulane and Darian Mensah leaving Tulane, like Tulane, Boise State, really good mid-major programs, they can't compete. It's going to be impossible moving forward.
Yeah, we keep talking about the $20 million roster at Ohio State, $23 million at Oregon. And they're reloading again, making those offers. And Cutter went on to say, I'm sure he could have gotten it up to $1 million for a tackle coming from Boise State. So interesting where we are in college football and how they were talking on Barstool yesterday. Big Cat was talking about Alabama having to keep up. They don't have the booster structure that they've got at Texas and Texas A&M and probably at Notre Dame and Ohio State.
I do wonder how different it would have been if Nick Saban would have hung out. Like, I think Nick Saban is one of those guys, like, if he asks for money, he's going to get it. I think it probably resonates a little different when it comes from Greg Byrne or Kalen DeBoer. You guys correct me if I'm wrong
well,
here.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be more pop from Nick Saban. I mean,
I would also say this, that you also could convince somebody to take a lower number, knowing that Nick Saban, the path he had of putting players in the NFL, take $500,000 instead of $1 million, because in 2 years you're going to be in the NFL making all this money. Just look at Mika Fitzpatrick or this guy or this guy or this guy or this guy.
And don't you think that if Nick Saban leaned on a few former players to throw $1 million here and there, those guys would not do it?
He could. But when I saw Notre Dame's number of for being a semifinal team, $14 million they've collected, and they don't have to share it in their conference because they don't have a conference, I thought to myself, well, we're about to go on July 1 to rev sharing. That's money that if they chose to do it, could go a lot of it or all of it into NIL.
Yeah. If they chose to do it, I think every school's probably going to do it differently. You've seen like the percentage breakouts, right? From each school, X amount's going to go to football, X amount's going to go to basketball. This little sliver's going to go to everything else.
But as I've learned, because I just thought this was, okay, now everybody will have $20.3 million to pay these players and blah, 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 blah. And it's been pointed out to me now twice since I thought that live on the show that, Jim, did you not think we were already spending that $20.3 million?
That's right.
You think we just had that sitting in the bank?
That's just funding what we're already spending. Yeah,
right.
It's almost like a shell game at that point, right?
We've already been spending that $20.3 million. So we've got to pay that $20.3 on NIL now, but we're taking that from somebody else. So, some people are losing their jobs. In part of athletic departments, you're trimming back. Travel's a little different. Maybe you're not traveling exactly the way you used to travel for some of the other sports. And eventually some sports will go away.
Well, and that's the problem. It's the other sports. I mean, football, this is not going to be a problem because you look at the rev share and then you look at what these teams are making now, $14 million. If you go all in and you're in Oregon or a Georgia or an Ohio State, you believe 4 out of 5 years you get into a college football playoff. So you're going to get a nice return. And then on top of that with the rev share, I mean, it makes sense for football and basketball, but to your point, there is going to be a lot of sports, unfortunately, that will go the way of the dinosaur.
The show being brought to you in part today by our friends at Odie's. One more thing before we get to trash. Tell us about our friends at Odie's.
Yeah, 2 great locations now, the original in Crestline. We were at that location last night. We do the Odie's Team Trivia every single Wednesday night. Drop in for lunch or dinner. The newest location in Edgewood. Great food from Rodney Davis award-winning wings, delicious sandwiches like the Diablo sandwich, great chili as well. Ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light to watch all of the football this weekend. Of course, live music Friday, Saturday. Make it Odie's Tavern, Crestline in Edgewood.
Okay, after trash, I'll ask the question, Penn State wins if, Notre Dame wins if, and I want you guys to give me the answer on the path to victory for both of those. Not picking the game because I know, Lance, you got to play on it at lanceslock.com, but I'll ask the question, Penn State wins if and Notre Dame wins if. It is time for trash. It's brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. And Tyler, what we got today, man?
The line is baked in a buttery, flaky crust.
Baked on a buttery crust. Baked on a buttery, crispy crust.
Damn, flaky.
I thought I said flaky. Baked on a buttery flavored crust. Crust. Yeah.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
If you are looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and low rates make the process so easy. Speaking of veterans, veteran founded right here in Birmingham. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home, your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Start first with a story that I came across last night, and Little T sent me this morning. Seems like crocodiles in Indonesia have developed a new hunting strategy.
You showed me this video last night, and it is pretty wild that they're doing this.
Saltwater crocodiles in Indonesia have apparently...
So they're pretending to drown to catch people's attention,
Help!
hoping people will jump in to save them where they can eat the people. Now, crocodiles are known to be intelligent hunters, and they come up with new ways to actually hunt their prey. Now, people obviously on social media are having a lot of fun with this, but if you just see those arms from afar...
Yeah, it does kind of look like a human.
Looks like a producer we used to have.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
It really is. You know that there's a crocodile in the water going, they're not going to buy it. They're not going to buy it.
You watch this.
Yeah, but
they're
this
not
is
going to buy it.
legitimately going on.
Like, has anybody...
That dude's like, ain't a chance in hell.
Yeah, let him drown.
Well, you know what sucks? Somebody's probably going to drown now because you're not going to want to jump in.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd be fearful of jumping in anyway with those crocodiles just swimming around.
Yeah. If I knew crocodiles were in the water, there's
Look,
zero
there's
chance
one
I get in the
above
water.
it. Do you see the one above it, Tyler? Like, go back. Yeah, right there.
That's his head up there?
Yeah, watch this.
Yeah,
if you
what's
go
he
back
do?
a little bit, you'll see it. Man, damn things are everywhere.
They really are. Zero shot him in that water. Zero.
Kim Jong-un, the
really crazy
supreme leader of North Korea, has reportedly issued a ban on hot dogs.
No!
He has labeled them as, quote, too Western and a symbol of foreign influence. Now, under this new decree, anyone found serving or selling hot dogs, whether at home or on the streets, is considered to be committing treason.
Wow, this guy's going hard.
Yeah, serious crime, obviously, in the communist state. Offenders could face severe punishment, including being sent to one of North Korea's notorious labor camps. Conditions in these camps so harsh that the United Nations have raised concerns that they could be considered crimes against humanity.
What's the best way to do a hot dog?
So there is a new joint. I'll just put it by our man Roni's that has a hot dog in there.
Are their hot dogs good? I've only had their burger.
Gosh. So they do like a slaw / chili dog.
Oh, yeah?
Mouth's watering talking about it right now. It's the last time I had a hot dog, but it's fantastic.
I get mine from Hamburger Heaven, one of our great sponsors.
Oh, he does
they
a great job with
three
them, too.
different ones that I pull out, and their Hamburger Heaven sauce on it is delicious.
See, I like Hamburger Heaven sauce on it with some kraut. This football season, my wife started doing Conecuh sausage dogs with turnip greens on them and barbecue sauce. Oof, Lord.
Yeah, I like the Hamburger Heaven dog with slaw, the mayonnaise-based slaw, and the Hamburger Heaven sauce. Yeah. Way to go.
Tim's a big supporter of the Moon Dog over there.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty good, too.
The Chow Chow.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah,
yes,
the Chow Chow is good. So one of the most notable targets of this crackdown is the Budae Jjigae. It's a spicy noodle soup that includes hot dogs or Spam.
God, that's
now,
awful.
the dish, which originated in South Korea in the late 20th century, became a popular comfort food in North Korea after it was introduced in 2007.
If they're putting hot dogs in soup, they need to be banned at that point.
Okay, so not just hot dogs. In addition to the ban here, Kim Jong-un has reportedly issued a new decree regarding divorce. Under the new rule, couples who divorce may be sent to labor camps for up to 6 months as punishment for their, quote, anti-socialist behavior.
Make you think twice, though, won't it, about that argument?
Yeah.
Is this really worth arguing over? Do you really want to go to labor camp? I would just like for you to do the dishes one time. Just one time do the dishes. Okay, well, let's go to labor camp then. How you like the dishes in labor camp?
I can't believe he's bad. He looks like a fan of the hot dog, does he not?
He really does. Looks like he could eat that entire plate.
Oh, I bet he has. I bet that's what he's doing. The need for the hot dogs is limited now in North Korea because of sanctions. And he's saving them all for himself.
More for me.
That's 100% what it is. They've had food shortages for years now, but he looks like he's eating pretty good.
Oh yeah, he ain't missed a meal. So he ain't mixing it in a salad either. Tyler.
Cape Coral man arrested on Sunday after being accused of attempting to break into a home and claiming his house was poisoned. Little Tom Sizemore looking down.
Yeah, a bit of Tom Sizemore in him.
Cape Coral police responded to reports of burglary in progress Sunday around 12:26 a.m. According to the victim, Aparicio, I guess is this dude's name. Is that right? I don't have there we go. Antonio Aparicio is his name. He was seen trying to open a locked slider door on the back of the home. The victim said he confronted Aparicio and told him he was armed. Aparicio reportedly ran away from the scene before officers arrived. When officers arrived, they said they met a man who identified as Antonio Aparicio, 42, who was attempting to gain entry into the home. Police said they found Aparicio. He was yelling for help and that his house was poisoned. Now, officers said they located Apariccio's wallet near a separate residence, which contained his ID. He is now facing 1 count of burglary of an occupied dwelling and 1 count of resisting arrest with violence.
We're going to take a mugshot real quick. Is it okay if I pray first? Yeah, go ahead.
It is Tom Sizemore playing Bruce Pearl in a bad TV movie.
Okay.
I think you just go Tom Sizemore.
Tom Sizemore? The late Tom Sizemore. He's dead, right?
He is dead, yeah. He liked to get after it a little bit.
Went bad for him at the end.
It did. 2 people were found dead in the landing gear compartment of a JetBlue plane after it landed in Fort Lauderdale. Airplane said in a statement on Tuesday, the bodies were discovered Monday evening during a, quote, routine post-flight maintenance inspection at the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport.
Did you hear a thump when we put down the landing gear?
The county sheriff's office investigating the deaths. Both of the individuals were men, though their identities have not been confirmed.
Froze to death, right?
Probably so.
Yeah, people forget either you suffocate because of lack of oxygen at 30,000 feet, or you freeze to death. If you're not, that's why it's cabin controlled in the cabin. Your luggage is down below, and I think they have a place below for some pets.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
But if you're not in that,
gets
cold at 30,000 feet.
And they don't know where or who this was, but the aircraft had flown from New York City's John F. K. International Airport. It landed at 11:03 on Monday. Prior to taking off from JFK, it had multiple flights. According to Flight Radar 24 data, the aircraft took off from Kingston, Jamaica, went to JFK, then went to Salt Lake City.
Wow.
So
would have been a good trip.
Yeah, I mean, who knows where these guys jumped in.
Not good enough for your last trip, though, Brad.
Well, no, it's not the way I want to go out.
That's kind of scary, though, that individuals are able to get in there.
I agree. Yeah. I don't know how we do that.
I mean, because if an individual can get in there, other stuff can get in there.
Is there a chance? Hasn't this happened before? Like, worker falls asleep in the luggage hold. They close the door, not knowing he's in there, and then he dies.
I think I saw that story once.
Yeah, that's happened
I
before.
saw Arnold Schwarzenegger snap a dude's neck and go down to the landing gear and drop off into a swamp when it was taken off in Commando.
Was that a documentary?
It was very realistic.
Very realistic,
yes.
But usually it's just people trying to either come into our country or get out of our
Stowaways,
country.
right?
Yeah, stowaways.
That's right, yes.
Okay, finally, it's been a while since the Tesla Cybertruck hit the roads, and you can easily find secondhand models on most platforms online. However, rather unusual listing popped up that said the owner was selling a Tesla Cybertruck. Catch here, it was actually a 1998 model of the 2023 launched pickup truck.
I can't tell the difference.
Yeah. Someone put up a listing on Facebook Marketplace where a man from Georgia was trying to sell a 1998 Tesla Cybertruck. As bizarre as that might seem, it obviously wasn't a real Cybertruck. Now discovered by Rated Red, it's available for a very humble price of $5,800. But this is actually a Mitsubishi L200 pickup truck that is modified
enough
Lance. To pretend to be a Cybertruck.
I don't know. I'm going to
have to see. Got good rims on it, right?
Yeah. Those tires might need replacing.
Yeah, maybe.
Is there a chance that's better looking than the Cybertruck, though?
I saw 2 on my way to work this morning. It's weird that this story's here because.
By the way, is that an old caboose or a submarine behind it?
I don't know what's behind it, but it is in poor shape.
I bet I used to be able to get a good hamburger there. Looks like a diner.
Oh, yeah, I'd still eat there. I was just thinking on my way to work, though, like when people bought these Cybertrucks, I bet they thought they were going to stand out. Like, I'm going to be the only one that's got one. You see them everywhere now. Yeah. Like, I don't know how many they've sold, but I see Cybertrucks all over the place. Like, you're not in a unique group just having one.
I'm not an artist, but the people who draw Phineas and Ferb, that looks like the kind of truck they would have in Phineas and Ferb because they have a lot of sharp forehead, noses, chin areas.
Oh, they would have made it in the backyard too, right?
Yeah. So is this not what you would see like a NFL quarterback's house with his car out front?
Yeah,
Probably no.
That's what Jed and Ellie Mae lived in before he shot that old bubbling crude and moved to Beverly Hills. That is Trash, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, no cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. They are your mortgage experts. So whether you're looking for your first home or final home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, our friends at Mortgage Right, here to help, 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
Yeah. Somebody sent me a video that, I don't know if it's AI generated or what, but it looks like me. I can't tell it's not me eating a banana at Starbucks, but it looks like it is.
Wait.
Oh, I've got to show you the video.
Can we start this over? Will you start over, please? Because I was not as attentive as I should have been based on the rest of that story, so please start over.
Absolutely. Somebody sent me a video. It's from Facebook, so I'm probably being hacked again.
Probably so, yes.
Right. My new Facebook account. I can't find it right now.
The video?
I just sent it to Forrester.
Okay. Well, I think Tyler's downloading.
Okay, so here we go. Does that not look like me sitting at a Starbucks eating a banana with a spoon?
Oh, it does. Oh, it does. With a sweater wrapped around your neck.
Tied around my neck, yeah.
That looks exactly like you.
I'm looking at it and I can't tell it's not me.
Do you know 100% you've not been at a Starbucks eating a banana with a spoon?
100%, because, Brandon, I'll let you look at it. I've never eaten a banana like that in my life. Now, again.
How do you eat a banana with a spoon?
That is a weird way to do it. So this is 100% AI, you
Dude,
think?
I mean, that's you.
Jim, are you certain you've never done this?
I'm certain I've never done it, but it freaked me out when I saw it last night. So 2 different people have sent it to me. Again, I may be being hacked again.
I mean, that looks like him, right?
It's the weirdest way I've ever seen anybody eat a banana.
Yeah, like I've got those glasses. I'm trying to see if that hat has Yellowstone on it because I got a brown hat like that.
I can't zoom in.
But it's not me.
That is bizarre.
Is that not insanity?
I don't think it's AI. I think that's a real person doing that.
Who just looks like me?
Who just looks like you.
So it's like I'm the new Van Pelt now?
I guess so. I mean, that's bizarre, Jim.
Yeah. Guy at Starbucks this morning eating a banana with a spoon and coffee.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a very long spoon, and he has not unpeeled the banana. He's dipping down into the peeled part of it, eating it. There we go. Scott's got it up. Of course he does.
Does that not look like me eating? I mean, it's me.
Yeah, you wear that spoon out, too. So.
Yeah.
A little too good with the spoon.
Probably smacking a little bit.
Probably.
But I'm sitting there. I see it when they send it to me, and I'm like, God, I don't remember ever. I mean, I'm not going to say I never tied my sweater around my neck like that because I went to college in the 80s. So I'm sure I have, but I haven't done it since I got to be that age.
I'm more offended by a person eating a banana that way. That is the strangest possible way to eat a banana.
Well, it's like a bottomless banana. It's not going anywhere.
Like, I can't focus on how much that looks like you. First of all, that guy is devouring that banana.
One of the quickest things you have to let the banana get before you can do that. He's eating it like ice cream.
Yeah, no, it's almost like it's bruised up banana that is so soft.
But is there anything that you eat quicker than a banana? But banana's like 3 bites for me, it's gone.
Exactly. Right. Like, I don't need a spoon for it. That is bizarre.
Yeah. I'm usually a 4-bite on my bananas. I can't get that much in my mouth.
Boy, James Sr. again just shaking his head.
Yeah, like,
but hey, it's not me. It's not me. I don't have that hat.
Say it's not.
I don't have that hat.
Yeah, I like the fact that the hat is the disqualifying factor for you.
Well, you know, I know my hats.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying,
do you have the pink salmon sweater
that you would tie around your neck? No,
I don't know when it was. It probably has a Roback logo on it. I probably have had this at some point. It's just insanity.
Can't believe
Again, I opened this and probably have let all kinds of malware into my new Facebook page.
Well, good news is Scott has now too.
And I texted it to Forrester, and Forrester's now put it in our system. So,
well, you know, the crazy thing
you say we got a show tomorrow. We'll never know.
Dude is not acknowledging whoever's recording him.
Yeah, I mean,
he's in that banana.
God, he's tearing that banana up.
Yeah.
He does have a lot of your mannerisms with the spoon, the way he goes in and licks it to clean it. You do that a lot.
I do that.
When you eat that yogurt you eat every day.
And I've got that undercarriage under my chin.
Yeah.
Little chicken neck.
Yep. And hairstyle is the same. I've got those glasses.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, I've seen it now, not just on replay here 18 times, but I saw it last night 4 or 5 times, and it freaks me the heck out. Would it freak you out if it was you? If you thought if it looked like you?
I mean, yeah.
I've never even seen a Starbucks that looks like that.
Well, we need to find out who this dude is. It's your doppelganger.
Laura says it looks like it's the Starbucks next to Margarita Grill. That's in Pelham, right?
I've never been there.
That's what you would say if you're trying to hide your identity.
God, what if I sleepwalk?
Dude, somebody would get shot for eating a banana like that in Alabaster.
That's true, yeah. It can't be in this part of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah,
son, what are you doing with that banana?
That's got to be pre-wildlife fires.
Yeah.
Out in L.A.?
Wildfires, yeah.
Yeah. All right. That just freaked me out. I wanted to share it with you guys. Thank you, Forrester, for infecting our computers, probably. Final questions here.
Sam wants to know, is that guy weighing in at 189?
188, boys.
Has he announced his weight to Starbucks yet?
188. You know how you get down to 188?
Eating a banana like that?
Eat a banana one spoonful at a time.
Hey, I'd rather be fat and miserable than eat a banana that way.
Notre Dame wins tonight if what?
Oh, they continue to play defense like they're playing right now. Look, their defense is only allowing 6 of 24 third down conversions. They only allowed 63 yards to Indiana rushing, 66 yards to Georgia. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton have combined for almost 400 yards through the first 2 games. These guys are going to have to get their yards. They're going to have to be in 3rd and shorts for Drew Aller. But if Notre Dame's defense continues to play like it's playing, Penn State won't win this game.
First 2 games, Notre Dame has found unique ways to score. They created turnovers against Indiana, broke off a big, long run. They created a turnover against Georgia that led to points right before the half and then came out of the half with a kick return for a touchdown. So they haven't really had to lean a ton on their offense. Their defenses may play. So if they can create turnovers, create short fields with Penn State, that is a great path to victory for the way that team plays.
Penn State wins if
they run the football effectively. Again, I think it goes both ways. I mean, Allen and Singleton are have to open things up a little bit. Tyler Warren makes a couple of plays. He is a nightmare matchup. I don't know if Notre Dame's got anything to neutralize a guy like Tyler Warren. And obviously, Drew Aller's got to play good football.
Brownie?
I would say the same. Tyler Warren involved as much as you can get him involved. The one game we saw Ohio State lose, they get down on the goal line against, Penn State lose. They get down on the goal line against Ohio State, and they don't do anything with Tyler Warren.
Disappears.
He disappears on that situation. You get that guy involved as much as you can. Tyler Warren, if I'm a Penn State fan, I want to see him touch the ball like 12 or 13
got
times.
Got 1,000 yards receiving. He averages over 8 yards a carry. He's thrown a touchdown. He can absolutely do it all.
-1 Notre Dame right now. That line could be moving at mybookie.ag, promo code next round. And a total of 45. That seems to be high if Notre Dame wins. Seems to be about right or low if Penn State wins.
It's a pretty low total, and I think the action's kind of split on the total there.
Yeah, feels like a 13-10-ish type win if Notre Dame wins it tonight. Old school. It's not smash mouth football, but it's about as close as we get anymore tonight. Notre Dame and Penn State, 6:30 on ESPN. A show tomorrow, either from our studio or from our homes. Bear with us as we make that work tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.